two things you got to do in weather like this. Run the football. When you throw, you got to be able to throw effectively down the middle of the field. And of course, ball security, Ray, will be a must. Hold on to the rock.
All right, Brett Favre, no stranger to these conditions, even though he's from southern Mississippi. He thrives in this.
He stays cool. You know, he's the old Brett Favre right now. He's making all the throws very accurate, and he's healthy. I think that's the big difference. And he's got a great run game behind him to complement him there, talking about Ahman Green. But the biggest thing, like Mike Sherman said, is whoever's quarterback plays the best in this condition will be successful, and that's the key.
All right, well, I tell you what, Sean King has been playing very well for Tampa Bay. They say he came of age last Monday night against the Rams.
He made a statement. He went out and he led that team. He made some plays, took it on his shoulders. I think that was the difference. The team got fired up behind that. And it's a team effort. That's what got them the win down there last week. That's what it's going to take today, because they're not only facing a tough Green Bay Packer team that has gotten a lot better as the season's gone on, that needs a win to get into the playoffs. They're also facing Old Man Winter here in Lambeau Field.
Well, the Bucs have never beaten Old Man Winter. 0-18 when it's 39 degrees or less. It's 15 today, so you got some old-time football coming your way after these messages.
You're watching the NFL on Fox. You're watching the NFL on Fox. Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Welcome back to Lambeau Field. Game temperature here, 15 degrees. It's a balmy 63 in Tampa Bay. I guess there's a warm breeze down there. A wind chill of 65 in Tampa today. At stake, the Buccaneers. They win, they'll clinch a home playoff game. And if the Saints and Vikings lose, then the Bucs win the NFC Central Division title. They'll be the #2 seed with a first-round bye. Now, for the Green Bay Packers, if they win today, they'll need a little help, but they also can get into the playoffs. They'll need losses by the Lions and the Rams. That, with a Packer win, will put the 9-7 Green Bay Packers into the playoffs.
And you're right, Ray. There was a little warm front moving around down there. I was down there before the before pregame warm-ups, and a couple Buccaneers were out. And needless to say, they were quite shocked at the temperature.
Well, the quarterback, Sean King, has never seen snow until the plane landed in Green Bay yesterday.
Anything above zero, we have to tell our fans, is a warm front in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Dramatica starts out with a line drive kick. Picked up by the wedge man, William Henderson, and Henderson is hit and knocked down at the 34-yard line. And there is a Buccaneer down on the field. If you look at the Packer offense, led by quarterback Brett Favre, 12-4 against Tampa Bay in his career. Up front, Clifton doing well, Verba, Winters, Rivera, and Tauscher. Ahman Green and William Henderson in the backfield. Donald Driver gets the start today for Antonio Freeman. Schrader and Franks are the other receivers. Freeman suspended, well, not suspended yet per se, but he has been declared inactive by the Packers because he was late for a couple of meetings yesterday. First and 10, Favre goes to the air right away, throws it out, and this is dropped by Tyrone Davis, a one-hand stab. Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense set a team record 54 sacks, many of them coming from this line. Jones, Sapp in the Pro Bowl again, McFarland, and Ahanotu. Linebackers, Brooks, his 4th Pro Bowl, Duncan and Quarles. In the secondary, Barber and Abraham are the corners, Robinson and Lynch at the safeties. First Pro Bowl for Donnie Abraham. Schrader with the reception, makes a man miss and gets the first down. It was Abraham who couldn't get him. 14 yards on the hookup. Favre to Schrader.
And guys like Billy Schrader are going to have to come up big today, especially with Antonio Freeman not being in the mix. And that's one of the things that Favre was talking about to the receivers before the game. You know, he needs everybody to play well today. And unfortunately for Antonio Freeman, he's kind of had a history of just as much going on off the field as on the field. And I think that's a smart move by Mike Sherman, the head coach, to discipline him and let him know, to send a message to this team. They can't have that kind of stuff go on.
I'm on Green. Stops, falls forward for a yard or two. And I agree with you. I think that that's one thing that Mike Sherman has established for this team is the discipline and you know, just the guys doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Well, that was the whole reason Mike Sherman is here in the first place. You know, last year, a lot of people felt that Ray Rhodes didn't have a grip on the discipline at all. That was one thing that bothered people. Well, that's where Ray Sherman has been Mike Sherman has been completely different. He's taken this team from minicamp on, and if there's been anything they've done, they've been disciplined.
2nd and 8. To the ground, Amon Green hitting the backfield, and he'll lose a couple on this one. That's McFarland with the penetration.
We talked to some of the Bucs last night, and you know, they were all pretty starry-eyed about the weather. And it was about -1 when they flew in here, and it got a little colder. And not everybody was looking forward to coming out and playing. But I think once you get out here and you get the helmet on, both teams have something at stake. You know, for Tampa Bay, they want to try to get a playoff game at home, and for Green Bay, they flat out need the win and some help to get into the playoffs.
Favre on 3rd and long. Over the middle, and it's knocked away. Nice play by Barber, breaking it up from Schrader.
Nice play there, and that's key for Tampa Bay's defense. A defense that everybody knows has played outstanding football and very tough. And to get off the field in the first series, to let them know, let Green Bay know that even though you have a quarterback that we haven't had much success against, has been able to really shoot holes in people during cold weather times, that we can get off the field on the first series without a score.
Bidwell comes on to punt it. Carl Williams back for the Bucs. Nice punt from Bidwell. Hangs it high. Williams forced to make the fair catch, and he does so at the Buccaneers 17. A 34-yard kick. No score. Tampa Bay will get their first chance at it when we come back.
Fox NFL Sunday, brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl.
Cameraman Mike Ratu's done a great job with our crew all year long as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take offense for the first time here this afternoon, and their quarterback Sean King, we mentioned that about he had never seen snow prior to landing in Green Bay yesterday. They had about 5.5 inches here yesterday, and he was quite impressed that he called home and told Mama.
Yeah, the first thing he said he did is he threw a snowball at Brian Kelly getting off the plane.
King to throw on first down through the hands of Jaquez Green. And the Buccaneers offense ranked 20th in the NFL in total yardage, led by Sean King. Nice record, 14-6 as a starter. Up front, Pete Pearson back from an injured calf. McDaniel and Christie back to the Pro Bowl. Middleton and Wunsch up front. Dunn and Allstott in the backfield. Green and Johnson, the receivers. Dave Moore is at tight end. 2nd down and 10. Oric Dunn's first carry, and he goes nowhere. Runs into Cletius Hunt. Leroy Butler in there as well. That Green Bay defense ranked 15th in the NFL up front. Theory, Hunt, Maryland, and Holiday. Linebackers, Wayne Harris and Niall Biggs, the rookie. In the secondary, Tyrone Williams and Mike McKenzie at the corner. Sharper makes his first Pro Bowl at the free safety, and Leroy Butler is the strong safety. Sharper leads the NFL with 9 interceptions. 3rd and 11. King with time. Nowhere to go with it. Now it breaks down, and he'll be sacked. John Theory.
Sean King knows he can't hold the ball that long. Looked like he had Dave Moore open out in the flat, but the coverage downfield was excellent. See here, he's looking off to the right side. There's Keyshawn inside and Riddell Anthony on the outside. Working to the other side of the field. Jaquez Green covered up. Great coverage by the Packers downfield. Ray, we talked about in these conditions, when you throw the ball, you have to think short, more in the middle of the field.
So Mark Royals will come on to punt after a 3-and-out series for the Bucs. Short kick.
I tell you, Ray, this is a situation, and I know the Cardinal sin is to never let punts hit the ground and roll, but in these conditions, you go ahead and let them roll because you don't want to take the chance of mishandling it and turning it over.
No score here in Green Bay. Don't let the blue skies fool you. It is chilly out here today, and Brett Favre, he knows how to work things when it's cold, and in this kind of environment, he's had a lot of success. We'll hear more about that in a minute. 1st and 10 from the Tampa 48, reverse. Donald Driver. Driver past midfield, stuck and stopped by Robinson. Here's Brett Favre talking about what you have to do in these kind of conditions.
Got to concentrate hard and stuff. Y'all played in a bunch of these. It's not how fast you go. If it's precise routes and just catch it. So those guys will be slipping and sliding and all that stuff. It's a chance for you to shine now. Opportunity of a lifetime. Hey, work on your footing, see? It's not about how fast, it's about how precise now. Keep them shoulders over your feet.
Favre would know he's 26-0 in these conditions. Under 34 less, and Damian Robinson knocks it away. And right now, let's go find out what's going on with Detroit and Chicago. Here's JB.
Ray and Ron, you know all too well, Detroit wins, and they're in. This is Jason Hanson with a 41-yarder, hits the right upright, but it bounces on through. Detroit nursing a 3-point lead over Chicago. Back to Ray Bentley and Ron Pitts.
Thank you, JB. And you see the playoff scenario. That's why we're looking at that game closely. The Packers need a win and losses by Detroit and St. Louis to clinch a playoff spot. And right now, it doesn't look too good for them, but it's early on. We'll keep you up to date throughout the day.
And you can see what happens in this weather when you try to throw one to the perimeter deep. Kind of sail them far.
Ahman Green breaks a tackle, gets very close to the first down. Ahanotu couldn't quite get him at the first try. He got him the second try.
And, you know, Favre, you hear him talking there, and he's talking about going down the field with his receivers and just being under control. When the field is slick and it's icy, you don't have to be fast. You're not going to be as fast as you normally are. You have to be under control, precise in your cuts and your breaks. He said the best he's ever seen at that was Sterling Sharp. Sterling Sharp would almost be slow coming off the line, but he was always in control, and that's the key. Also, catching the ball today, Ray. You know, talking to Keyshawn Johnson before the game, we look at this.
First down,
made it.
Green Bay.
Talking to Keyshawn Johnson before the game, he said, I told Sean King, I played in this weather before. Throw me the ball so I can catch it with my body, not my hand. Don't give me anything I got to try to hand catch, because catching the ball in this kind of weather, it's like catching bricks out of the sky.
The other thing Favre said, too, as part of that, is he may hold the ball an extra tick to make sure that receiver gets out of that break and doesn't slip down. 1st and 10. They fake the reverse this time, and Green gets stuffed at the line, ran into Warren Sapp first.
Hey, well, if Green Bay's going to have any success today, it's going to rely on their ability to run the football. That's what's helped them the past couple of weeks. And that guy right there, Ahman Green, has been the difference. He's allowed Brett Favre to get comfortable, to take the pressure off him, not feel like he's got to do it all by himself. But if you're going to get that guy going, you better get number 99 on the other side of the ball, Warren Sapp blocked. Along with the rest of that front four, McFarland, Ahanotu, and Jones. They make this defense go.
2nd and 11. They go to the ground again with Green. And Green gets collared by Ahanotu. And now he's thrown for a loss.
Hey, nobody told those guys about the cold weather. And I just got to saying that defensive front four makes things happen. Watch Chidi Ahanotu here. You know, it's one thing to be able to get pressure, but you got to be able to play the run as well, and that's what he does there in that play. Talking to Monty Kiffin, the defensive coordinator for the Bucs, they feel if they can shut down the run and make Brett Favre have to pass to win this game, that's in their favor. And I think it's even more in their favor with Antonio Freeman out of the mix. Not that Brett Favre can't do it, but you want to put all the pressure on one guy like that.
Left tackle Chad Clifton out momentarily. Mike Wall in for him. Favre dumps it over the middle, complete to Ahman Green. Green, the leading receiver for the Packers, stopped a couple yards short of the first down.
Another thing that's going to be key today for both teams, when it's time to pass, short passes across the middle of the field. Easiest throw for the quarterback. There's a little bit of wind out there, and you can see the Packers, they've got that go-for-broke attitude already.
4th and 4, the Packers are going to go for it. as Chad Clifton now checked back into the lineup, replacing Mike Wall. See the Packers' success on 4th down. This one a 4th and 4. Favre back to throw. Underneath, caught by Driver. 1st down, Green Bay.
What a catch. Did you see that? Remember, Donald Driver is playing in place of Antonio Freeman that was disciplined, held out of the game. Watch him in here. Watch the way he catches this with his hands. I tell you what, that skill, in a day like today, as hard as that ball is, and Brett Favre put a little smoke on it. He put a little Cajun spice on it.
He did, warmed him up.
You know, sooner or later, Ray, as it gets to this time of the year, and if your team is in the playoffs or you want to be in the playoffs, your quarterback has to make plays. And Brett Favre did on that.
Corner blitz comes from Favre. Favre throws behind it, complete to Wet Knight. Wet Knight picks up 5 on the play.
Packers don't want to look up at that scoreboard. We showed that Chicago-Detroit game because that does have implications for them, but they got to take care of business right here. There's the blitz. Rondé Barber probably blitzes more than he covers out there, has been successful, but Brett Favre has been so good lately getting the ball out of his hands quick. It's hard to get to him.
Barber with 5.5 sacks on the year as part of that blitz package. He's effective when he does it. 2nd and 4. Packers go to the I formation. Henderson and Green in the backfield. Schrader in motion. A slant to Driver. Can't hold on to this one. John Lynch broke it up.
Yeah, that's got to be a bad feeling to coming across that middle, see the ball coming, and also see number 47 coming at you. John Lynch brings a load. This is just a slant route, something that's been in this Packer offense for a long time. Thrown a little bit behind him.
Yeah, Lynch delivered the blow, didn't he?
Lynch dropped Donald Driver's body temperature a few degrees on that hit.
10th play of the drive for the Packers. 3rd and 4 at the Bucs 13. Favre out of the shotgun. Throws it to a wide open Driver. 1st down. Driver down to the 3. And Warren Sapp, we haven't heard from him yet today.
Well, we talked about Brett getting the ball out fast, but you got to take care of Warren Sapp, first of all. Now, there he is, 99. And they just block him there. They start off with a single, but they got help by the center. Frank Winters comes over to get a chip on him. But Brett Favre's going to get the ball out. Donald Driver is making a statement. He's trying to show everybody that he can be the guy, that he can step up and be counted on when they're low on first.
2 catches, 23 yards. I'm on Green. Touchdown, Green Bay.
Hey, this is just blocking here. Now, I like to give more of the credit to Ahman Green, but when you got a hole like this, any overweight polar bear can get through there. Look at that. That's huge. Look at the blocking on the left side. Ross Burba, Chad Clinton. Oh, my goodness.
So the Packers score first. Longwell, who is perfect on the year at extra points, gets this one through as well. And it's Green Bay 7, Tampa Bay nothing with 5:55 here left in the first. Ahman Green with the touchdown. Here's your quarterback, Sean King on the left side, jacket, full headgear, hands in the pocket, and Brett Favre, who says he never wears a jacket or goes and sits on the heated bench during the game because, you know, he's outside, he's going to play outside. He says you just keep getting cold if you get warm and cold, warm and cold.
The thing you got to remember is that you're not out here to be warm. You're out here to play football and win a game.
Here goes Carl Williams. Williams with a nice return, brings it back 25 yards. Gives Tampa Bay excellent field position as they trail 7-0 in the Packer 11-play scoring drive.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by IBM, taking e-business and your business to the next level. By the new Remington TCT for total closeness even on the toughest spots, like your neck. By Zales, the diamond store. And by Budweiser with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer.
And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have had very little luck here at Lambeau. 0-6 all-time against the Packers when the temperature is below 40. 15 today here. Last win in Wisconsin back in 1989. Ron Pitts was still in short pants back then. First and 10 from the 42. Warwick Dunn makes a man miss and then runs right into Mike McKenzie. Let's go see what's going on with Detroit and Chicago. Here's JB.
And what you'll see, Ray and Ron, is Detroit doing its part, knowing that if it wins, it's in bat. Hooks up with the tight end, David Sloan, little 9-yarder. It is now 10-0. Chicago, though, has crossed the midfield, something they didn't do last week. Terry Bradshaw says you have to have something to build on, Ray and Ron. Back to you guys.
Yeah, and the one thing you can't do, JB, if you're Green Bay, is look at that scoreboard. You got to take care of your house first. And taking care of their house means stopping the Tampa Bay offense.
Done. Darren Sharper on the blitz. Loss of 3 or 4 on the play.
Warwick Dunn said in a meeting the other night, he said, I'll tell you honestly, I do not want to be here.
He did say that.
This is cold. He said, I've packed everything you could possibly fit in that duffel bag. He's got extra shorts, extra top, all the shoes in his locker.
He said he couldn't believe they could land the planes when it was snowing like it was yesterday. 3rd down and 9. King from the shotgun. Throws it almost intercepted. That's Antoine Edwards. I don't know if he got a hand on it. I think Dave Moore just dropped it.
I couldn't tell from here. The coverage was once again excellent downfield. And Sean King is going to try to fit this ball in here. It looks like Antoine Edwards got a hand on it.
Sure did. So Tampa Bay will have to punt it away again. Their second consecutive 3-and-out series to start the game. And Royal hits a nice high kick.
Good adjustment.
Allen Rossum makes the fair catch, a 41-yard kick. And the Packers have the 7-0 lead and the football. Tampa Bay Buccaneers equipment man working on the earpiece inside of the quarterback helmet. Makes maybe the electronics froze up.
Yeah. I tell you what, there's nothing worse than putting on a cold helmet.
Oh,
it's
you're right.
like twisting a vice grip around your head.
Rip your ears right off.
Put that thing back in that trunk, close the trunk, and put some of those little heating pads in there.
Packers start 1st and 10 at their own 17. Spread it out, 3 wide receivers. Favre in the shotgun. And Favre is sacked on this one. Warren Sapp, 16.5 sacks on the year now for Warren.
And those are 2 old buddies there. They get after it yearly. And both of them love it, too. And we just talked about the last series. Warren Sapp is a guy you have to control somehow. Look how quick he is with his hands. He just beats Rivera to the outside and then works back inside. A huge series, I think, for Tampa Bay's defense because they're down 7-0. They go down and let Green Bay get another score here with the way the offense has been able to run the ball and this weather. That could be a huge downer for them.
Favre, broken play. And Favre gets it outside, gets some room, and gets up to the 15-yard line. He'd get 12 on the play.
And that's why you got to have a quarterback who's an athlete and can ad-lib and do things like that. This thing is supposed to go this side.
It's like Favre went the wrong way.
Yeah, what do you say? When the MVP from past years goes one way and everybody else goes the other, who's wrong?
Yeah. Favre found another gear in the cold weather here.
Well, Brett's healthy now, and that's been the whole key for him. You couple that with a run game, and he's playing like the old Brett Favre. Didn't make the Pro Bowl this year, a little bit of a surprise to me, even though the numbers aren't the same. But
3rd and 11, he dumps it out to Ahman Green. Green stopped at the 21-yard line, coming up with a big hit. Damian Robinson.
Tell you what, if you want to know what that hit feels like in this weather, just put a helmet on and take off and run into a brick wall about 10 times. That's what that feels like. We talked about the stand. Good job by Tampa Bay's defense getting off the field And now they're going to give their offense the ball back, probably in pretty good field position. Nice punt.
Bidwell hangs a high one deep, sends Carl Williams all the way back to the 30. Flag goes down a clip, so this will come back.
And now they just took themselves out of good field position.
And now in Rossum, pair of 20s going at it as he and Barber mix it up. But K.D. Williams got clipped trying to make that play. The illegal block.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 58 of the return team. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Ron Winter is our referee today.
That's Don Davis there. He got the clip, and that's a good call. Anytime you can read the guy's name, don't hit him. And guys continue to do that.
So Tampa Bay takes over, first and 10 at their own 21. They've got -9 yards in total offense in their first 2 drives. Johnson in motion. King throws the slant to Keyshawn, caught near the first down. Right now, let's go back to Los Angeles and find out what's going on with J.D.
Ray and Ron, Chicago is going to do its best to play spoiler, not giving up here as Paul Ettinger bangs home this 37-yard field goal to narrow the Lions' lead to 7. It is now 10-3 Lions. That in the second. Back to Ray Bentley and Ron Pitts.
Boy, they had a lot of stuff going on in Chicago this week. The whole team got together and pretty much said that they didn't want Shane McNown to start. A lot of issues in that team right now.
Johnson got the yardage needed for the first down. It's first and 10. King to the air again. High over the middle, incomplete. Green couldn't hang on to that one.
Did you see the way King threw that first ball to Keyshawn Johnson? Before the game, we were saying Keyshawn told Sean, throw me the ball so I can catch it with my body in this kind of condition. That ball right there was a stretch-out ball, a layout ball. That's the hardest catch you can ask a receiver to make when the weather's in the team. Not to mention the fact that you're flirting with getting them killed coming across the middle from that safety.
Second down and 10. They go to the ground. Warwick Dunn. Dunn keeps it alive for 5 yards.
And that's what's going to have to improve, Ray, the Bucs run game. And that was the difference last week against the St. Louis Rams. Warwick Dunn was able to rip off some long runs and kept his team out of these 3rd and long situations. And it made things easier on Sean King. But they've been shut down in the run game, and it forces these 3rd and 7, 3rd and long, where they have to put the ball in the air.
Dunn coming off his best game as a pro. 3 touchdowns, 22 carries, 145 yards on that Monday night win over the Rams. 3rd down and 7. King underneath, caught, incomplete. Riddell Anthony gets the first down.
That's a nice pitch and catch there. Riddell Anthony made some big plays the last couple of weeks there. And we talk about throws down the middle of the field. The easiest throw for Sean King to make. Give him a clear line of vision, go right down through here. And then it's yards after the catch. Receivers have to be able to get positive yards after they secure the ball. Perfect throw by King.
Good hustle from Bonnie Holiday running him down. The Buccaneers have 2 first downs on this drive. Moving the ball nice. Dunn. Stopped for no gain.
Tough play inside by the defensive line. Cledius Hunt, Russell Maryland. The old vet still hanging in there, getting some things done. If those 2 tackles can stay stout against this run, they've got a chance to do what they want, and that's put the ball in the air, make Tampa Bay put the ball in the air and hold positions to win.
The Bucs content to let the quarter wind down. So that is the end of the first quarter. The score: Green Bay 7, Tampa Bay nothing. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.
You're watching the NFL on Fox.
Ray Bentley and Ron Pitts here at Lambeau Field, wishing everybody happy holidays. As you see, the first quarter stats, and the Buccaneers prior to this drive had -9 total yards. Started this drive at their own 21.
And what might help this time for Tampa Bay, they're going with the wind now. They were heading upstream there before.
King behind Keyshawn, incomplete.
I don't think Keyshawn knew the ball was coming. It looked like he was heading more up the field and the ball was thrown more toward an out pattern. And, you know, this field array we talked about earlier, it's in pretty good shape. They got the coils that run underneath the field, and what they do is they pump antifreeze in the coil, and they keep that going all game long. In fact, that system has been pumping since October. They toned it on in October, and it's been going ever since.
Third down and 9. King throws it outside. Complete to Dunn. Dunn pushed out of bounds, short of the first down. The Buccaneers will have to punt it away. They did get a little field position. They finally got a little something going on offense.
Yeah, well, that was the big thing that got everybody excited last week, is that the offense finally took control of the game. They did things themselves without the defensive help late in the game.
Yeah, Derek Brooks said it wasn't so much that we won, it was how we won last week against the Rams. Beat them at their own game. The offense came through. Mark Royal set to come through. Good punt from Royal. High and deep. Rossum lets it go, and it'll go into the end zone. Touchback. So the Packers will take over on their own 20-yard line after the 47-yard punt. Green Bay up 7-0.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. By Labor Ready, dependable temporary labor guaranteed. By Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular. And by Gateway. In Gateway Country, people rule.
Santa Claus catching the game before he gets on the road tonight.
What was that guy next to him doing? He was bareback Jack.
Well,
yeah, this boy here has definitely had a couple tequila shots.
Anything to stay warm. How about putting a shirt on? I think he's got that
He's
one.
hot.
First and 10, Green Bay. Favre to the air again.
Deep one.
Looks deep. Driver broken up. Nice defensive recovery by Abraham.
That's great coverage by Donnie Abraham. Here's a guy, 7 interceptions this year, leads the team. He had 7 last year and didn't go to the Pro Bowl. The ball's thrown a little backwards, a little behind him. But that's still a nice job. One of the things it's hard to do as a defensive back, because I played here in these conditions, Ray, it's hard to go deep. And when somebody takes you deep, it feels like rubber bands snapping. And those are your hamstrings. And don't think you can't get tired in this weather, because you can, especially if you put too much stuff on.
Yeah, weigh yourself down a little bit. Second and 10. Favre, play action.
Nice play.
Now he goes deep again. Incomplete, looking for Schrader. Barber with good coverage.
Yeah, I don't know where Schrader was going with the ball. I mean, where Schrader was going, it looked like the ball was thrown inside. He stayed outside. The coverage was excellent.
Yeah, I don't think he expected the football to come to him.
Ray, you brought up a good point in the break. I was surprised to see both teams passing as much.
Yeah, right now Green Bay with 8 running plays, 13 passing plays. Tampa Bay, 5 runs, 8 passes. Third down and 10. Favre with 4 wide receivers. Dumps it to Green underneath, and Amon Green picks up the first down. Amon Green has been so effective as a check-down receiver for Brett Favre.
Yeah, Amon Green has been one of the guys that's come on since Dorsey Levens has been out of the mix. And if he's going to replace Dorsey, he's got to do 2 things: run and be able to catch out of the backfield, and that's what he does. Next thing I like about this kid is he stays low when he's running. He runs what they call behind your pass. It gives you good leverage and gives you good drive through tackle.
First and 10, and Green stopped. A gain of a yard, perhaps, and Amon Green is the leading receiver and rusher for these Packers. The last running back to do that for Green Bay was Barty Smith back in 1977.
And, you know, Amon may be huge a lot quicker than he thinks, because Dorsey Levens, with all the injuries and the salary cap number that he'll have on the team next year, $7.4 million, he may not be here.
Favre tucks it away and just laterals it up front, caught by Green, and Green gets it up to the 39-yard line.
There's a lot of speculation that Dorsey may be asked to move on. He hasn't been healthy. They haven't really been able to count on him. And in the meantime, Amon Green has stepped up. And all it takes in this business, once you hit 30, or your cap number gets too high, or you start to get injured, they're looking to replace you, especially if they got a guy who's doing just as good a job as you are.
4 degrees Fahrenheit. Third and 5. Buccaneers show blitz and bring Rondé Barber. Barber, free shot at Favre. He has to throw it away, incomplete.
I tell you, Rondé Barber is fun to watch, because not only can he play the corner position, but he also gets up there. I think Rondé thinks he's a defensive lineman. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes through pass rush drills and practices more in sack. Now, of course, when it opens up that easy, it's not hard to get in there, but that's a great scheme, a great call by Monty Kiffin. They time up the blitzes perfect.
Quick snap on the punt.
Wow,
Bidwell,
you know, that hurt.
Shanks it off his foot. He'll go out of bounds at the Buccaneers 31-yard line. 29-yard punt. Tampa Bay with decent field position. They trail the Packers 7-0 here with 12:05 left in the first half.
This is life as a gunner. Alan Ross, from number 20, has just been getting pounded by Rondé Barber and Rich Robinson, just killing it. I mean, they're about to tear his jersey off. Poor guy. There's no love here. Not at these temperatures.
First and 10 from their own 31. Don King on play action. Throws it outside, caught. And that is a good catch by Jaquez Green for 14 yards. Coming up next, it's the second part of our Fox NFL doubleheader. Vikings looking to wrap up that NFC Central and some home field advantage against the Colts, also the Panthers and Raiders. And here's what's at stake. The Vikings win, they clinch the NFC Central and that number 2 seed in the first round bye. The Colts, they need a win and some help. And the Raiders looking to clinch the AFC West, they need to win. That's a great run by Warwick Dunn, staying alive, picks up 8.
You know, it's amazing to hear people at one point say that Warwick Dunn wasn't the guy to run in this offense, that he couldn't run outside or run inside. He wasn't tough enough. He wasn't big enough. Let me tell you something. Warwick Dunn has meant everything to this offense, and he's the reason they were able to beat the Rams last week, because of moves like that. He gets through things. He's got that stop and start, that acceleration that you just don't see. The last guy I saw had that was Barry Sanders.
I think he accelerates better than Barry.
I think he does too.
All stop. He's jammed up. John Theory makes the tackle. It'll be very close to the first down.
And you know, this team is going to have a little bit of a decision to make at some point in time on who's going to be the guy at running back. I don't know if that platoon running back stuff works. I don't think it does. And you see what happened once Allstott got hurt. Not that Allstott hasn't been great for this organization. He has. But you can clearly see when Warwick Dunn is in the game, the numbers skyrocket for this team in every phase.
Third down and 1. Play action from King. He's got time, but nobody's open. And now he shoots it for Moore along the sidelines, incomplete.
Moore's got to catch that ball.
Miles Diggs got there.
You can't ask Sean King to throw a ball in sub-zero temperature any better than that. That ball's on the money. When you talk about the little things, that get you out of games. that get you out of the playoffs, that get you beat. It's that right there. And Dave Moore went to Pittsburgh. He should be used to this kind of stuff.
Royals punt to Rossum at the 11. Rossum gets the corner. All the way up to the 24-yard line on the return. This 36-yard punt. 12 yards on the return for Rossum. Packers up 7-0. Gabby Holiday's Green Bay up 7-0 over Tampa Bay, and check in on this playoff scenario. The Packers need this win and then losses by Detroit and St. Louis to make it. Detroit up 10-3 over Chicago, and New Orleans has come back to tie it with St. Louis 7-7. Both those games in the second quarter. Here goes Ahman Green, and let's go find out what happened in New Orleans. Here's JB.
Hey, fellas, take a look at Kurt Warner, who's had an up-and-down return. This is his fourth game back. Here he throws his 8th pick. This one's to Darren Smith, who returns it 41 yards for the score, and it's all knotted at 7 apiece back in the second. 9:40 remaining in the first half of play. Back to Ray and Ron.
Boy, that's going to be a tough one for the Rams to win. They're going to have to hope for that magic they almost got last week and pull it out late, because Jim has a defense. They're striking people and making big plays like that.
Favre on 2nd and 5, stays on the ground, and Green very close to the first down.
See, that's what I mean, Ray, by Ahman Green. See how low he can get? He's got that ability. He's a natural knee bender. And a lot of guys are knee benders, but when they start running, they raise up. He can run low and run low fast. And that helps you break tackles. Watch how many guys miss him here. And he gets one there. Lynch comes over the top. He eluded one in the backfield. That helps you get those extra yards.
I think Derek Brooks put it back and said he does a nice job of running behind his pad. 3rd and 1. Ahman Green, one of the best third down backs. Reverse Schrader.
Watch Brett Favre.
Favre throws a block, but Schrader is short of the first down. Robinson knocked him out.
Well, this defense can run, man. I tell you, they got speed everywhere. They're young, they're fast. Anytime you can run a reverse and this many white shirts, look at these guys coming. They still get to the ball. Damian Robinson, he came from the safety position and brought icebergs.
Favre cuts down Don Davis here with a nice roll block.
Somebody should have cut down Robinson because he laid Schrader out.
Good punt this time from Bidwell. Fair catch called for and made by Williams at the 23, but there is a flag down. Matt Snyder getting into it over there. Ron Winter will tell us what's going on.
Ineligible man downfield on the kicking team. A 5-yard penalty. Number 96 was downfield. Repeat 4th down.
David Bowen's left early for the Packers.
And you know the one guy who hates this is Josh Bidwell.
I'll tell you who else hates is Alan Rossum. He's got to fight that double team over there again.
You know, you always hate to be that gunner. I was that gunner. And you got to work against two guys, and they just pound on you. They talk trash to you. They talk about your mama right there before the play starts, and then they beat you up all the way down.
Dexter Jackson and Rondé Barber working on Rossum. Nice punt from Bidwell again. Williams at his 25. And he gets rolled under. Aiken, the first one there. That was a 49-yard punt. And Alan Rossum did a nice job getting away this time. See, I think he did it. What you have to do, and you've done this, you just attack one man, beat one guy, and then try to outrun the other one.
I know. That's what they told me my rookie year when I lined up on Hanford Dixon and Frank Minifield for the Cleveland Browns. I don't think I got 6 yards down the field when the referee was calling for the timeout. So needless to say, I didn't last for that team very long.
1st and 10, King hands it off to Warwick Dunn. Dunn picks up 8 yards off the left side. brought down by Nate Wayne.
We were talking about Rorik Dunn, all the things he can do for you. And to me, he's just a guy that whatever you need done, he can get it done. If you need it caught, he can catch it. If you need it run, he can run it. He hangs in there pretty good as a blocker, and these numbers show that.
Well, I think that what these numbers really reflect is the opportunities that Dunn has been getting these last 4 games when Allstott got hurt. Yeah. Look at the production he's come up with.
Yeah, I asked him last night, what's different? What are you doing different? I'm not doing anything different. I'm just getting a chance to be the guy.
Dunn stopped in the backfield. Big defensive play from Billy Lyon.
Yeah, this cold weather thing is really mental because you can sit here and talk about it, and you know you can pack stuff and you can get ready for it. But when you look up at that scoreboard, if you're behind and you're getting beat up, it's going to get a lot colder than it is. And if you're ahead, you're feeling a lot better about how things are going. Like Green Bay, I noticed, came out here pretty fired up about the weather, but that tailed off a little bit.
3rd and 2. King throws it high, incomplete.
Yeah, that one sailed on him.
Trying to hit his tight end, Dave Moore, and threw it over his head.
And King is trying to keep the ball short. He's trying to keep the ball pretty much in the middle of the field, trying to make those high percentage throws. You know, sometimes, Ray, it gets so cold down there, you can't even feel the laces on the ball. You get a lot of quarterbacks complain of that. That's why Brett Favre said, I got to try to hold the ball more so I can feel the ball, get it in my hands, and get my bearings before I let it go.
On a 4th and 2, Royals comes on to punt again. This one a line drive kick low, and Rosson bobbles it and then falls on it at the 30-yard line.
Oh, he got lucky.
Right there on the spot was Nate Webster, but there is a flag down. Holding on Green Bay is the preliminary signal.
Holding. Number 53. A 10-yard penalty. First down.
That penalty was on Mike Morton. And the Packers up 7-0 as Alan Rosson scrambled to get his hands on this hot potato on a cold day.
Beautiful stuff.
New Year's Day, one of college football's most storied bowl games, continues its tradition on Fox. It's the 65th Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl Classic when number 21 Tennessee meets number 11 Kansas State for the first time in the history of these two legendary programs. The 65th Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl Classic, New Year's Day at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific, only on Fox. Look forward to that one. 1st and 10 from the 20, Green Bay. 94 total yards on the day for the Pack. Favre goes to the air. Throws the fade up deep to Schrader. He catches it, but he's out of bounds.
You know, one of the things Brett Favre has been doing this year on the deep balls is throwing them high and to a point toward the middle of the field. They even put out a red stripe in practice that they just try to throw the ball on that stripe. They're trying to work the sidelines, and they just get too much. Actually, a nice job there by Abraham using the sidelines as your help. He pushes Schrader to the sideline, knowing he's got another guy over. That's your defender. That's an extra linebacker or defensive back over there.
2nd and 10, Favre, 8 of 16 for 76 yards. Now he goes down the sidelines looking for Lee, and this one's incomplete. Boy, the ball, Lee, and Robinson all got there right about the same time.
I'm still surprised how much they're throwing the ball. And Robinson, I thought he was going to intercept it. Everybody got there at the same point. And Robinson was trying to go for it. You see the way the weather affects the throw. It's either too far out of bounds, or it's underthrown, or it's overthrown. It's It's hard to get a grip on the ball and get a good throw on the ball when you can't feel the ball. And you know, Favre, he doesn't wear gloves. He just puts his hands in those pockets. He's got 2 or 3 of them.
He's got a bunch of pockets to keep him warm. 3rd and 10. Favre sets up the screen. I'm on Green. Green cuts back and runs right into the linebacker, Nate Webster, and Jamie Duncan.
Yeah, I think Antonio Freeman, who was declared inactive today because of disciplinary reasons, I think that has a lot to do with Green Bay's passing game not getting going. They started off in the first quarter there and went down the field, not running the ball much, but they haven't been able to do much lately. And this Tampa Bay defense just starting to pick up a little steam. You can feel that. Yeah,
Donald Driver made 2 catches in that first drive and hasn't had one since, as Bidwell's punt takes a nice Packer roll down to the 35-yard line. That's where Tampa Bay will take over, a 40-yard punt.
Yeah, we're talking about Brett Favre in those pockets. Well, another trick he uses, these little hand warmers. You rip the thing out like so.
Right.
Take out the goodie. You peel it, and then you stick it to wherever you want to stick it. And I got one on my foot, and I'll tell you right now, it hasn't done a darn thing. My feet are freezing.
Yeah, I've got them on my feet too.
You throw it out.
Throw it out because I don't know. I think I put them on too late. My feet were already numb when I put them on, so I don't know if they're working or not.
Well, I didn't want to put it on in the hotel room because then you walk around with a hot foot.
Yeah, they're being used.
It's a good thing we're not playing, huh?
Yeah.
We have issues.
Been through this. Like to be up here. 7-0 Packers. King complete to Keyshawn Johnson for 6 yards.
And you see, Sean now, he does the same thing. You got to get those hands out of that weather, out of that cold as soon as you're done using them. You know, he won't bring those hands out of there until he's got to go into the center. You see he's trying to get signals there, but
they go right back in there.
You talk about the elements and exposure to skin.
Keyshawn Johnson with his 2nd catch of the day makes it 2nd down and 4. King, play action. Drops it underneath to Dunn, and Dunn is hit by Hunt. And can't hang on.
Boy, and those are the kind of hits that hurt, too. That thing resonates throughout your whole body. Dunn can't handle it cleanly, and Hunt makes it pay for it here.
Here's the first 5 possessions for the Buccaneers, and they're giving Mark Royals a workout. He's the punter. 3rd down and 4. John King, 5 of 12 for 47 yards through the air. This one's caught by Keyshawn Johnson for a 1st down. That's up to the Packer 46.
That's a perfect example of how to make a throw in this weather. See, King let that ball go. He put some heat on it, and he put it right in Keyshawn's chest. Watch where this ball ends up. It's a middle-of-the-field throw. We talked about that. And the ball's there now. And still, even Keyshawn does a nice job of catching it with his hand. Remember Keyshawn played, in New York.
Yes.
He spent some time there. And he was a little concerned that with all the Florida guys they had on the team, they were a little over-concerned about the weather and not so concerned about just going out and playing football.
King rolling to his left, tucks it down, and he'll be run out of bounds by Lyon.
Ray, I think one of the bravest guys in this stadium, we got a guy on top of the roof, what we call our flash camera. He's in a little booth up there. Somebody ought to send him up a hot cappuccino, man, because there's a guy in there. There's one of our guys in there.
Trent Windorski, he's in there, yeah. See him waving the hand there. He's all right.
Oh, look, Trent's got the Santa hat on. Trent, give us a thumbs up if you're still alive in there. Do you need water? Supplies?
Yeah, send heat.
We'll airlift some up to you.
2nd and 9. King. That ball comes out. It's loose, and now it's recovered by Tampa Bay. I think it was a fumble, and I think that's what it's called on the field.
And now Tampa Bay would like that for that to be an incomplete pass because that would affect the spot of the ball.
And that's what the call is now from Ron Winter, incomplete. It's David Bowen with the pressure.
If his arm is going forward when it comes out, it's an incomplete pass.
I don't know.
I don't know. I
think he lost that one on the backswing.
I think it's simultaneous. I think that ball comes out.
Here's the thing, though. The ball goes backwards, so it's a lateral. It's not incomplete. It's a lateral. Should be a live ball. But Tampa Bay recovered, so no challenge. 3rd and 9. One hopper incomplete to Green.
You know, neither team has really been able to find one thing that they do well, that they're comfortable with doing in these conditions. Green Bay really hasn't been able to run the ball. Tampa Bay hasn't been able to really run the ball. They both flirted with passing. They get one here, but then can't hit another one. The team that can do that is going to be the team that has success today.
6th drive, 6th punt for Tampa Bay. And Royals hits a beauty, hangs it high, and Rossum let it bounce, and it rolls into the end zone. Touchback. 45-yard punt, but a net of 25. And Tony Dungy, we talked to Tony last night, and he said, "You'll know how cold it is on the field by what I wear on my head." Yeah. If I just wear the ball cap, it's not that bad of a day.
Right.
Well,
he's got the baseball. He said, if I wear the baseball cap, I'm not that cold, and it's all right. But if I go to the skull cap, then you know it's cold.
I tell you what, his right ear is going to be cold. I'm going to keep an eye on him, see if he switches that headset over to the other ear to keep that other ear warm.
Or gets that dual headset Motorola going with the ear pads, the built-in foam ear pads.
Favre takes over. Hands off to Amon Green, and Green is stopped for no gain. Jamie Duncan makes the tackle, and Buccaneers have not done well in December or January here at Lambeau.
Yeah, but they're going to have to be good in weather like this because they may have to go to it with the teams that are in the playoffs this year.
So the Giants have the home field advantage throughout, and that's going to be a formidable place to go in and get something done. And they may, the road to the Super Bowl may well be going through the Meadowlands.
Absolutely.
2nd and 10, whistle blows before the snap. Flag is out.
Prior to the snap, ball start, 76 offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Ed Clifton, who is making his 10th start, the rookie out of Tennessee, number 2 pick, who came in and really solidified that Packers offensive line. I think, Mike Wall was struggling early on, and Clifton came in and has really done a great job.
Yeah, he did a great job against John Randall last week in Minnesota Vikings. Basically held him down to 1 sack. Get that.
Amon Green, nowhere to go. Tries the right side and runs into Warren Sapp and McFarland.
Mike Sherman made a great comment the other day, and a great observation. He said, our team can't expect the weather to win the game for us. In the first quarter here, Green Bay goes down the field to get a quick score. Well, they really haven't done much since, and this Tampa Bay defense, as always, is rising to the occasion. And this will probably be a low-scoring game, and Tampa Bay's offense has got to find a way to get points. They got to find a way to get close to Gramatica so he can get points, if nothing else. He was hitting them from 52 in pregame warm-up, but you can't expect for your offense to just blow people out today.
3rd and 15. Favre throws it underneath, and it's dropped by Driver.
See what I mean?
Bounced right off of it.
That's the kind of stuff that's going to go on. Ball security, we talked about it in the open. You have to focus, you have to concentrate, and that's the difference in the win and the loss. Now, this is a perfect opportunity for Tampa Bay going here in at halftime. The 2-minute warning is going to hit here in 5 seconds. They're going to have pretty good field position, most likely. They've got to turn this into points going in at half.
Looks like they might be trying to block this Bidwell punt. They bring it off. Bidwell gets it off. Carl Williams lets it bounce, takes a Packer bounce all the way down to the 35-yard line. A great punt, a 50-yarder and no return. And Tampa Bay trails by 7. They've got the ball back with 1:55 to go here in the first half.
Fox NFL Sunday, brought to you by E-Trade. It's your money.
And happy holidays from everybody at Fox.
Those are some cold Santas.
Remind you that coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris will have scores and highlights from around the league, plus our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stats coming up on the Visa Halftime Report. Buccaneers with all 3 timeouts remaining, trailing 7-0, first and 10 from their own 36. King out of the gun, under the gun now, throws it down the middle, just misses Warwick Dunn.
Nice move there by Cletus Hunt.
Let's go find out what's going on with Chicago and Detroit. Here's JB.
Ray and Ron, what is going on? Take a look at Brian Urlacher. Wedge Urlacher coming around both defensive players to get to Charlie Batch, slamming him to the ground. He leaves the field holding the right side. Significant development for the Lions right now who are nursing a 4-point lead over Chicago. Back to Ray and Ron.
And don't think the Packers won't get word of that development when they go in at halftime. As long as that score is even close, they have hope, and that hope will keep them playing hard.
King breaks one tackle, breaks another.
He's going. He's still going.
King, now he laterals it off to Dunn. A reversal of fortunes from last Monday night.
You didn't think you'd see that play again, did you? And you know what that is? That is Sean King and Warwick Dunn making plays. You know, all year long the talk has been, what is wrong with King's development? Does he have the playbook? Is he allowed to call his stuff? Is he running what he wants to run? I think finally last week Sean King said, I just got to find a way to win the game. And I don't think this kind of stuff bothers Tony Dungy too much. I'm not saying that bothers him a little bit. You know, as long as it works, because this is what you do to win games. You make plays, and this team is making plays. And that's what's fired up the defense. They like to see that.
And Monday night, it was the other way around. Warwick Dunn lateral to Sean King. This was a huge play in this game.
You know, everybody came down on the Rams defensive coordinator, Peter Junta, and said, well, you know, you didn't call the right stuff, and how could you let them go all the way down the field? You got to remember, this is what they did. They pulled a rabbit out of the bag. And then don't forget, Sean King ran for 2 more.
King throws it wide outside, looking for Warwick Dunn, incomplete.
You know what I'm surprised at is the Green Bay Packer defensive line and how they're able to get some pressure. They've had some problems all year long. They haven't really been on the same page, but they've gotten it going here in the last part of the season. They're giving McDaniel and Christie and Middleton everything they can handle inside.
Second down and 10. King. Wide again. Incomplete to Dave Moore.
Dave Moore has got to get his hands together. That ball was a little outside, but it's got to be caught one way or another. Sean can help him by putting it on his chest. But still, you know, this team, another reason to win this game, you don't want to have to go to New York. You don't want to have to go to Philadelphia. That's going to be more weather like this. You need to get people down in Raymond James Stadium where they are almost undefeatable, 20-5, and make people come down there to play.
Third down and 10. Whistle comes out before the snap. Flag down as well. Might have been Jerry Wunsch. Big right tackle moving early.
Prior to the snap, ball start, 71 offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
And Wunsch is no stranger to this kind of weather. Grew up in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
He said they used to go snowmobiling in minus 12-degree weather and never thought about it.
Yeah, when you think about that, when you're a kid and you go out in the cold weather, what's the big deal? You're out there having fun.
Yeah, well, see, that's the mental part of it. It depends on what you're out there to get done. If you're out there to have fun, then you do that. You don't worry about the weather.
If you're out there to stay warm, good luck, because it's not going to happen. King with pressure. Stays alive, falls down, throws it off of his knees, throws it away, incomplete.
Well, and you know, this is where Tampa Bay, Tony Dungy's going to go nuts again on that intentional grounding situation.
Well, Vonnie Holliday was there with the pressure.
He's got to laugh inside because he's heard about 3 or 4 different interpretations of intentional grounding. Was King out of the tight end to tight end box?
I think he definitely was. And if that's the case, he can throw it as long as he gets it near the line of scrimmage. He can throw it away, and he did. And on 4th and 15, the Buccaneers will punt it back to Green Bay, who has all their timeouts left.
And that 7-0 may not look like much to Buccaneer fans, but as you can see the way the game's going and their offense is rolling, that 7 points can be quite a distance.
Royal. Short punt, fair catch made by Rossum at the 16.
Go, guys, let's go.
34-yard punt.
Now they got a flag here, a late one.
And a late flag.
Looks like it might be a personal foul.
Well, it was...
I think that's on Green Bay, too.
Yeah, it was Katie Williams and Eric Vance getting involved.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a 15-er.
That's going to make Mike Sherman very upset.
And one of the things that they said they did last week against Minnesota, they played error-free football. That is not an example of error-free football.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 50 of the receiving team. Penalized half the distance to the goal. First down.
Katie Williams. Take a look at these current scores. Both games at halftime. Detroit 10-6 over Chicago. St. Louis 10-7 over New Orleans. Penalty puts the Packers back at the 8-yard line, and that's where Amon Green gets hit right away for no gain. Marcus Jones on the play, and the Bucs use another timeout. They have 1 left. Well, you think that they'd maybe talked to wardrobe and got a little different costume for this time of year.
Well, I know who they should go see. They should go see Warwick Dunn because he brought a trunk of funk.
Then he brought everything he
for
had.
everybody.
Well, you said the trunk of funk, and this is some of that funk right here.
He got... I don't think there's just one of each in there. I know there's a couple
player.
scaps.
And then you know they got extra.
Tights. He said he brought 3 or 4 different types of tights. Hand muffs, hand warmers. He looks like he's going to a skating rink.
The polypropylene suit, I'm sure, is a popular item. There's Tampa Bay with 1 timeout left. Trying to pin the Packers back and maybe get another shot. Green Bay stays on the ground with Amon Green, and he is stuffed at the 10-yard line. Shelton Quarles.
Tampa Bay's going to get the ball back.
Use their final timeout here in the first half.
He's going to keep... Can't stop thinking about Warwick Dunn. You know, he may have to check that trunk. They may not let him carry that on the plane.
Well, Tony Dungy said, hey, I expect these guys to come out and play regardless of what the weather is. He was going to tell them an old Bud Grant story where Bud Grant was working on the Alaskan pipeline. He said they'd stay out there in half-hour shifts, and then it just got too cold. They'd have to come in. Well, they had a tractor that broke down. So they brought a local guy in who's used to this kind of weather. They got him out there. He's working on the tractor. They're in there for about an hour, and they said, you know, we better go check on this guy. So about an hour and a half, they check on the guy, and there he is driving the tractor up and down. And he said, well, man, we only stay out here about a half hour. How can you stay warm in this? He said, I'm not trying to stay warm.
Yeah.
I was trying to fix the tractor.
Trying to fix the tractor.
And so that's what you got to do. You got to come out here with your purpose in mind and not worry about being warm.
And you know, the unit that's trying to fix the tractor right now is Tampa Bay's defense. They're getting it done.
3rd and 7, Amon Green. Short of the first down. And the Packers will let that clock run down before they punch. 10 seconds, depending on when indeed they snap the football. Carl Williams will have one chance to get the Bucs in field goal position. They would be kicking with the wind if it were to come to that. Green Bay has all their timeouts. I'd think about maybe taking one, and they do. So timeout Packers with 13 seconds left to play here in the first half. I'd like to remind you, stick around, the Visa halftime report coming up. JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris will have all the halftime highlights and scores from around the league.
Yeah, Ray, as players, we know you go in at halftime, and the halftimes are so short that you just get warm enough to get cold again as soon as you walk right back outside.
Yeah, you'll thaw a little bit, but not to where you need to be. Another thing you do, and I don't think that it's as big of a factor here, but it gives you a chance to change some tires, if you know what I mean. I mean, if you're not warm enough, find something a little warmer to throw on, or if you got something wet or not fitting right, you can get redressed. That's one, I think, the biggest thing you're able to do at halftime.
Well, the thing that saves you here today is it's not wet. It's a dry cold. Like they say, it's a dry heat.
Yeah, this is a dry cold. Bidwell's punt takes a Packer bounce, but there is a flag down back in the backfield. And the Packers let that clock run out for not picking up the ball, but there is a flag down, so we'll have to find out what that is to determine whether or not the half is over.
That looks like a hold, or in the area of a hold.
Well, the Bucs brought the rush, so it very well could be holding on the Packers, trying to protect the punter. And they have a unique rule in the NFL where if the Buccaneers were to make a fair catch on this punt, then they have a free kick.
But wait, now, if this hold is in the end zone, let's see where the hold is.
I don't think it's, the flag is about on the 4-yard line.
Yeah. Because they could make a free kick. You have to call it fair catch
Number
the ball.
53 of the kicking team. Penalized half the distance to the goal. Replay, 4th down.
And I'm guaranteeing you that's what Tony Dungy is telling Carl Williams right there. Listen, make the fair catch, and if you get the fair catch, that'll allow the Bucs to have a free kick, a shot at a field goal. And I tell you, their kicker can bring it.
Well,
too.
he was hitting it from 52 yards, and this is smart by the Packers. There's no time on the clock. Why would you risk a punt?
Good thinking by Mike Sherman. Let's just run a play and end the half instead of giving the Buccaneers an opportunity for that free kick if it's a short punt from Bidwell.
Well, that's one of those situations where
chess match.
That's one of those situations where your coaching staff has to be on it, and they have to be ready and know what the situation is.
So you get an untimed down because of the penalty, and Favre will just take a knee and end the first half, and that's what he does. So that is the end of the first half. The score, Green Bay 7, Tampa Bay nothing. Fox NFL Sunday will continue with the Visa halftime report after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.
The Visa halftime report is brought to you by Visa. It's everywhere NFL fans want to be.
And welcome to those of you watching the Bucs and Packers, the Cardinals and the Redskins to Los Angeles. And the Visa halftime, Packers looking to get into the playoffs, need a victory and some help from Chicago and New Orleans.
Gary Moeller and the Lions have destiny in their own hands, JB. A win, Detroit makes the playoffs. Glenn Milner takes his head up. Kolokowski knocks him down. Jeremy Lincoln gets that ball. All right, now 9-yard line. David Sloan, tight end, to your right, beats the linebacker inside. 9-yard touchdown reception. Lions 10-3 over the Bears. And then Charlie Batch back to pass. Rookie Brian Urlacher comes inside, hits Batch. Batch will have to leave this football game, re-injuring his rib cage. There's Urlacher, there's Batch going off this game now into the third quarter. 10-6, though, Lions over the Bears.
All right, in Nolans.
Marshall Faulk, yeah, he is, knows how important this game is for the defending champs. Kurt Warner back, all out all-out blitz. Man-to-man coverage on the outside. Good blocking downfield. 13-yard TD reception. Rams a record. 5,021 net passing yards on the season, beating the Miami Dolphins of Dan Marino. Then Falk takes a punch at Kevin Mathis. This thing gets crazy. 2 or 3 punches are exchanged, but Falk is not ejected from this football game at this point. Rams are up 7-0. All-out blitz again. Something you don't do against Kurt Warner. He's too quick. Darren Smith steps in front of Isaac Bruce, who the pass was intended for. Touchdown, 6th defensive touchdown on the year for the Saints. Now that game into the third quarter, Rams 10-7.
Washington Redskins offense coming alive with Brad Johnson in there. A little too much, a little too late. All right, folks, in Baltimore, the Jets, if they win, they are in right now, trailing the Ravens by the score of 20-14. 4 first-half turnovers. Wow, by the Jets. Isn't that amazing? Patriots on top of the Dolphins, 21-17. Now, Miami is in with the win. The Dolphins did trail 14-3, but they're still trailing right there. Falcons, 13-7 to the Chiefs. While the Chiefs have never lost to the Falcons, they're 4-0 all-time. Dan Reeves trying to come up with a victory there, and Donovan McNabb, Scott Ackerson, our producer, he thinks that McNabb is the MVP. That squad on top, 13-0 right now over the Bengals. Howie, Bucs and Packers.
Well, you know, neither offense has looked particularly good. Neither offense has been able to generate any yardage on the ground, and neither quarterback has looked particularly good. But the scary guy in Green Bay in the second half is always Brett Favre. Defense from Tampa Bay playing outstanding. I think they're in better position than anyone thought they would be in, meaning the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now.
Yeah, absolutely. The Green Bay Packers, who have been playing awfully well lately, and I guarantee you nobody wants to see Brett Favre in those playoffs if you're on those other playoff teams, but things are looking better right now. Detroit with Scott Case now in at quarterback instead of Charlie Batch, and St. Louis clearly struggling against this New Orleans Saints defense. Both those teams lose and Green Bay wins. The Packers are in the playoffs.
But the Bears have Cade McNown now in for Matthews, who went out with an injured right hand. So you would say that perhaps the advantage in the quarterback duo against Detroit would have to go where? I would think it would have to go to the Bears' favor, believe it or not.
You would think, although the people on that team don't want Cade McNown as their quarterback.
Guys, you know, people don't always like the quarterback.
It's Christmas. Let's be happy.
Exactly.
Quite a few of the Bears don't particularly like it, but we'll find out what effect that has as the Visa halftime continues after this.
Welcome back to Lambeau Field, halftime, where the Green Bay Packers are up 7-0 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now on Monday, a snowstorm hit Green Bay, 5.5 inches. So the call went out, and some 200 volunteers came in and helped shovel the field, actually shovel the stands clean, so that the people could come in here and sit down and enjoy a good football game this weekend. They just run her down the tube and roll it out with the truck. And we'll be back with the second half in just a moment. Again, Green Bay up 7-0 over Tampa Bay.
You're watching the NFL on Fox.
7-0 Green Bay over Tampa Bay here at halftime at Lambeau Field. Ray Bentley along with Ron Pitts here wishing everybody happy holidays, Christmas Eve here at Lambeau Field. And you know what, Ron? The clouds are coming in. It's going to be colder here in the second half. What's that going to mean to these teams?
Well, I think neither team has been able to establish the run. They've tried. They've had some good things. Rorick Dunn had a couple good runs. Amon Green's had a couple. But then they get away from it. The pass, I'm surprised both teams are passing as much as they are. It's going to get colder. The wind is going to pick up. The sun is gone. That's only going to make it harder.
All right, let's take a look at the first half numbers, the stats, and not a whole lot of offensive production as you're going to see right here.
And you can see the time of possession. Of course, Green Bay has had the nod that they've been able to hold on to the ball, and that is in their favor, being up only by 7 points. But, Ray, I keep pointing this out. 7-point lead is a big lead under these kind of conditions. Tampa Bay is having a lot of problems going down the field. They're not even getting anywhere near where Gramatica can kick a field goal, and he's hit from 52, 53 in pregame warm-up. So they've got to start thinking about that here.
Let's go back to the quarterback comparisons. We talked about it at the top. And Brett Favre, who usually thrives in these kind of conditions, I think he's missing Antonio Freeman a little bit.
And, Ray, it's getting to that period where these next couple possessions are going to be defining possessions for both teams, especially for Tampa Bay. They need to get points going. And I go back to Antonio Freeman not being on the field because of the disciplinarian actions taken by Mike Sherman last night. That's hurting them. That's hurting them in their pass game. funny, both teams believe they can throw the football.
They both tried. Both teams have attempted 20 passes here in the first half. Here's the one score in the ball game, and that was Amon Green after Donald Driver had 2 big catches in the drive. Green capped it off with that 3-yard touchdown run.
And remember what also happened in that drive. Green Bay went for it on a 4th down.
4th and 4.
Yeah, a 4th and 4. So those are the kind of dice you have to roll in this situation to get points. What typically happens to Tampa Bay in games like this, or at least what they hope will happen, turnovers. They can turn defensive turnovers into offensive points.
And there have been no turnovers thus far in this ball game. And the Buccaneers will open up the second half on offense as Longwell has it teed up, set to kick off. And the second half is underway. Good kick from Longwell. Carl Williams can't get the handle on it. Picks up the bobble. And it'll be stopped right at the 20-yard line. Nice special teams play from Ryan Wetnight. First half drive for the Buccaneers. And getting that kicker a workout. Right now, let's go down to Drew Smith, who's on the sideline. Drew, what do you got?
All right, thanks, guys. Talked to Mike Schumann as he headed into the locker room. He's got to get that running game going. He's really disappointed they haven't been able to gain more yards on that. Happy with the defense, though. Hoping for a big second half.
Thank you, Drew. First and 10 from the 20. Tampa Bay starts on the ground with Warwick Dunn. Nowhere to go. He's tracked down by Vonnie Holliday.
You watch the job that Cledius Hunt did, 97, working on Randall McDaniel. This is why the Bucs run game hasn't been very good. Excuse me, that's Vonnie Holliday. No, it isn't. It is Cledius Hunt right there. I'm sorry. 97. Yeah, he did a great job of pushing McDaniel back in the backfield. And that's what's going on all day today. Both defenses have kept the offenses going. And that's typical in cold weather games. Special teams will also be a part of that.
Sean King, 0 for his last 6 passes, hands it off to Warwick Dunn. Dunn stopped by Leroy Butler. And Warwick Dunn, on the day, you're going to see in a minute his numbers, 11 carries for 31 yards. Dunn also with just 1 catch for 7 yards.
You just mentioned a name that you haven't heard a whole lot from lately, and that's Leroy Butler. You know, Leroy is a little bit overshadowed this year by the play of Darren Sharper, the other safety who's going to the Pro Bowl.
3rd and 10. King bobbles the snap. Picks it back up, and now he's rolling out. And King with room. Cuts back, and he stopped short of the first down. Big defensive play by Nate Wayne and Mike McKenzie.
Nate Wayne is fired up. And that's the kind of enthusiasm that the Packers have been playing with. King he kind of took that glance off to the left, and the ball came. And he wasn't ready for it. Does a nice job of making something out of nothing. Then takes a nice hit at the end, too.
It was actually Edwards and Wayne who made the stop. 4th down. Royals on the punt for the 7th time. And Rawson lets it land, and now it takes a huge bounce for the Buccaneers all the way inside the 25 down to the 23. A 49-yard punt for Royals. No return. And the big defensive play for the Packers gets them the football back. They lead here 7-0 in the 3rd.
He'll say, are you married? We'll say no, man.
Fox NFL Sunday, brought to you by DirecTV, the #1 digital satellite entertainment provider.
Jeff Peel shooting the game from the sidelines for us today. As always, camera crew does an excellent job. 1st and 10 from the 24 for the Packers. Favre with time, dumps it underneath to Amon Green. Green with room, breaks outside, Here goes Amon Green up near the 40-yard line before he's pushed out of bounds, a gain of 17.
And then they're going to get another 15 tacked onto it for a late hit out of bounds.
Damian Robinson over there making the hit.
The first series coming out after half is always the biggest series.
There it is. Personal foul.
And it's always the biggest series because it's a chance for you to reestablish what you did in the first half.
Unnecessary roughness, number 47 of the defense.
Called on John Lynch.
Putting the player out of bounds. 15 yards, first down.
And the Packers established in the first half they could go down the field early and score. And they come right back out the first play of the second half and reestablish that.
I don't see what Lynch does.
No, that's not Lynch.
Well, he called it. The official said it was on 47.
Yeah, but he means to put it on Damian Robinson. I don't know. It's a little iffy either way.
So the ball moved into Bucs territory. First and 10 at the 25. Amon Green wrestles his way for 3. The ball comes out late, but the whistle had blown. Right now, let's go to Los Angeles. See what's going on with JB.
Ray and Ron, take a look. New Orleans Saints knocked out Kurt Warner. He is out with a concussion. Return is questionable. Trent Green is in the backup spot now. St. Louis nursing a 6-point lead over the Saints. That in the third. Back to Ray and Ron.
Wow. They're
rough year.
Down there.
Rough year for the Rams and in particular Kurt Warner.
That's why they always say the trick is to just get in. Once you're in, anything can happen if you can get in.
Play action, Favre. Whips it outside, wide open, Bubba Franks. Franks down to the 30, a first down, a gain of 11. First grab of the day for Bubba.
Tom Rosley, the Packers offensive coordinator, said we got to do a couple things. We can't have the turnovers. We have to be patient against this Buccaneers defense. They've been patient. They put a lot of the game in the punter's foot to turn it over and say, hey, we'll just come back the next series and get it done. And the next thing we have to do is not put Brett in a position where he's got to force. Throw it to the tight end is a throw where you're not forcing. It's a high percentage throw.
Favre looking for Lee.
Got him.
Knocked away, but the flag goes down. It'll be interference on Rondé Barber. Jeff Kelly over there also. Barber and Kelly got to Lee early.
Yeah, they did, Ray. One of the best throws Favre makes is the seam throw. Right in between the hash and the numbers.
Number 25 defense. Penalized at the spot of the foul. First down.
They get Brian Kelly. He just got above him. See, Brian Kelly panicked. He wasn't actually as bad as he thought. But if he's not looking at the ball and he reaches to make contact, that is a penalty.
Amon Green pushes it up to the 3-yard line.
The Buccaneers cannot afford to go down 14-zip. We've been saying it all game long. I said 7 points in this kind of condition is a lot further behind than you think. It's cold, a lot of drop balls. The Buccaneer offense stuttering, not being able to get anything consistent going. And you see Brett Favre about to get something done.
Come on, Green stuck.
Touchdown.
Spins his way in. Touchdown, Packers.
It all starts with the big plays. Right off the bat, they hit Amon Green on the little toss out to the sidelines. He turns it into a great play. Then the throw to Bubba Franks. And then the pass interference, and now the easy dive play for the touchdown.
Second touchdown of the day for Amon Green. He's got 10 rushing touchdowns on the year for the Packers. And the extra point from Longwell is good. And Green Bay goes up 14-0 as the pass interference penalty gets him in range, and Amon Green caps it off. Packers scoring drive, covered 5 plays, 77 yards. Favre was 2 of 2 for 28. The big one, the 24-yard pass interference penalty on Brian Kelly.
You know, they say there's 3 phases to getting in the playoffs, or to going about the playoffs. Number 1, you got to get in. The Buccaneers are in. Number 2, get in and get seated. That's the part they're working on here today. That's a very important part, especially with the way they play at home. They need to get a win so they can get one home game.
Longwell keeps it on the tee long enough to kick it to Williams. Williams from the 7. Carl Williams cuts back behind the wedge, hurdles his way up to the 37-yard line. A nice 31-yard return for Carl Williams. And again, the Green Bay Packers need to win here today, and then they need losses from Detroit and St. Louis to clinch a wild card. And both of those games are tight games right now. Detroit's up 10-6, and St. Louis is up 13-7. But both the Lions and St. Louis have lost their starting quarterback.
Right. And the third thing to that 3 parts of getting to the playoffs is once you get in, win it all. Think like you can win it all.
Yeah, don't just try to get there.
No.
That's a mistake we made back in Buffalo a few years back.
Well, Ray, it's an easy one to make. You know, it takes a lot to get there.
Yes, it does. Work done. Gets there for 4 yards.
And I think this is where Tampa Bay has to stay. They got to stay with 28. This is a guy that got him there last week against the Rams. He's been productive today. You've got to keep this ball on the ground. And that's hard because when you have weapons, and some of those weapons get in your quarterback's ear in the huddle and say, I want the ball. And they've got guys on the perimeter, but running the football is what's the safest way to get the ball down the field.
King to the air, the blitz comes, almost picked off. Niles Diggs.
I wonder if Sean was listening when I just said the safest way to get it downfield. Hey, that was just a good play, I think, by Diggs to get over there. And Sean King is running for his life. Hey, the Green Bay Packers defense, they're not supposed to have pressure, right? They're not supposed to be a great front 4.
Sharper
Here
on the
comes
blitz.
Sharper.
I tell you what, King was lucky.
2nd and 5, I would have run that ball one more time.
Now it's 3rd and 5. They go to the shotgun. King, ball is batted incomplete. Ronnie Holiday got the hand up.
And you can see this Packer defense getting more and more momentum. And that 14 points is going to start to feel like you're 28 points behind.
Sean King struggling, 6 for 21 on the afternoon for just 60 yards. The Royals is on to punt again.
Royals may be the Buccaneers' best weapon next to their defense. Field position.
Good punt from Royals, hangs it high. Rossum makes the fair catch at the 21-yard line. And the Packers fans want a flag for interference over there.
They got one.
And Floyd Young got a little too close.
I think the fans talked the official into a flag. Because he didn't throw it right away. He got intimidated by Cheesehead.
It'll happen to you here.
There is no infraction on the play. The contact was incidental to the play.
My bad.
Yeah, I would almost beg to differ. But Ron Winters makes the decision. Green Bay up 14-0 here at Lambeau. Take a look at that AFC playoff race. You see the AFC East. That title's still up for grabs. And we'll have the Indianapolis game coming up for you later on as they play Minnesota at home. And the Vikings taking on the Colts. And that one will have a lot to say as far as who's going to be the division champion, not only in the AFC East, but in the NFC Central if Tampa Bay can mount a comeback here. Ahman Green. Hit by Robinson, but Green worked his way up for a 5-yard gain.
Green Bay has done a great job of just taking care of their house. They need help. They need other people to lose. But it's funny, Ray, and we've been in that situation both as players. When you take care of your side of the deal, other things take care of themselves.
Usually will fall into place. Second and 6. Favre goes to the shotgun. Green Bay with 22 running plays, 22 passing plays. Good balance on the day. They'll go to the air again. Blitz comes from Lynch, but he misses Favre. Wow. Favre underhand to Amon Green for the first down. And Green runs over Robinson.
That play right there typifies the Green Bay Packers' second half of the season. Brett Favre with a classic slide, a slip, what he does so well just to avoid the rush. And you remember Monty Kiffin talked about that last night? Watch, he sees Lynch coming. A lot of quarterbacks would tuck it, dive, run. He just sidesteps. Okay, and then watch Amon Green. This is why Amon Green is the guy now.
Wow, ran Abraham right over.
He just trucked Donnie Abraham. Here's a man that has 3 straight MVPs to his credit, Super Bowl ring, and he's still fired up.
Favre, play action to Demond Parker. Favre down the middle, and it's incomplete. Right now, let's head down to JB and find out what's going on. JB.
Well, good news, bad news scenario, Ray and Ron. Good news, take a look at Kay McNown after a series of runs, tossing Evans to Marty Booker, 28 yards for the strike. Chicago on top now. The bad news, St. Louis on the scoreboard. Marshall Faulk tying Emmitt Smith, second touchdown of the day. He's got 25 on the season. That ties the most touchdowns in a single season. St. Louis up 19-7 after missing the 2-pointer. Back to Ray and Ron.
Thank you, JB. And the Packers need both St. Louis and Detroit to lose and them to hang on and win here to get into the playoffs. Favre throws it outside. A great one-handed catch. No, incomplete. Down driver, let it hit the ground.
We've been talking about what this Packer team has done the second half of the season. And, you know, they've come together. They had a lot of question marks in the beginning. Brett Favre was injured. They really didn't know what the running back situation was going to be. Dorsey Levens was bouncing back and forth hurt. And one thing that Mike Sherman did to bring this team together, to add unity, he took them bowling in training camp. They all came down to practice at the beginning of 2-a-days. He said, everybody get in the vans. We're going bowling.
Cosmic bowling?
I don't think it was cosmic. It was pretty well daylight. We've done that cosmic bowling.
3rd and 10, blitz comes. Favre escapes again and now throws it across the body. Completes the straighter. He fumbles. Picked up by Robinson. And Robinson brings it up to the 47-yard line.
And that does look like a clean fumble. Looks as though he had it possessed. And that's a big play, once again, by the Bucs defense.
First turnover of the day.
The Bucs come into this game plus 13 in the giveaway takeaway ratio.
And this might be what the Bucs need to get it going again here. Boy, Schrader just dropped the football.
Yeah, the ball's out.
You got to get up.
You know, that's another good point to having bodies around the ball. Pursuit isn't just about getting everybody on a gang tackle. It's about having people around the football in case it comes out.
And King hits Green on the slant. Jacquez Green makes the grab, the biggest offensive play of the day for the Buccaneers, 15 yards.
And what's important about this for Tampa Bay, they finally get on the other side of the 50, but most of their scores, a lot of their scores have come from defensive turnovers, from turnovers.
Green with 2 catches for 33 yards now as King goes back to the air. Nowhere to go with it. He tucks it away and slides in at the 30.
It'll be interesting to see how conservative Les Steckel gets here. They're approaching what they call the green zone. Don't ever call it the red zone. All the offensive guys get mad. Call it the green zone. And they know that Martin Gramatica has been pretty good lately.
Well, the Buccaneers offense has been very good in that green zone, scoring in 91% of the time. Work done. Runs into Bernardo Harris. Harris doesn't want to let him go.
You're talking about that green zone. You call that green. Excuse my drawing there.
Big third down and 6. Buccaneers just 3 of 12 on third down. And King escapes one man but can't get away from Baja Biamia.
Say that again, I'll give you $100.
Baja Biamia.
Kabir, the rookie. And now the Buccaneers, they're acting like they're going to go for this.
I think they, yeah, the way things are going, you might have to.
Because you remember, it's outside the 20-yard line. If they go for a field goal and miss, the ball gets turned over at the spot of the kick. That would in turn be great field position for the Packers. And it's a long 4th down, too. Fourth
and 8.
Blitz.
They roll a slant.
Oh,
they get the
got
first down.
Great
Jaquez Green.
Great pickup.
Boy, give Sean King a little credit.
Yeah, appreciate the throw by Sean King. Just a quick slant there on the top by Jaquez Green. Well, that ball is right there. Green doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to reach. He doesn't have to twist his body. He can catch the ball and fall right on the marker for the first down. Pretty nice shot, Ray, for a kid born and raised in Florida.
St. Pete.
Playing in this sub-zero weather.
Green throws it outside and hits Keyshawn Johnson. Johnson forced out of bounds at the 14.
And that's 4th down play. We've seen 2 4th down plays now that have been big plays for each team. Green Bay had one in the first quarter. It led to points. And now the Bucs here knowing they got to keep this momentum going. Now remember, this is all coming off the defensive turnover. They're still working off that turnover. Look at that, Donatel, the defensive coordinator. His defense has played stout so far. They got to be very stout right now.
2nd and 3. King back to the air. Throws it outside to Warwick Dunn, but the Packers are there. Dunn with the cutback. Warwick Dunn's got some room over there. He gets the corner, gets the first down and out of bounds at the 8.
Warwick Dunn's amazing. You know, players play no matter what the conditions. Whether it's cold, whether it's raining. They had one of those monsoon games against Miami a few weeks back.
Oh, yeah, he was all the way outside the numbers on the other side of the field.
I think Warwick Dunn ran about 151 yards in that play. He almost ran 100 because he's almost 50 from sideline to sideline.
Packers with some confusion on defense used their first time out here in the second half. Buccaneers knocking on the door, trailing by 14.
NFL Sunday is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. By Autotrader.com, the biggest, best used car site on the planet. By Interstate Batteries, power fast, built to last. And by Cellular One. When you need a cell phone, Cellular One is here.
That's my guy, Win Bernfeld, on the camera today.
Winnie's always hot. He's always warm.
Does a great job for us, I'll tell you that. Buccaneers on the move. 1st and goal on the 8-yard line. Warwick Dunn Trapped in the backfield, Nate Wayne ends up making the tackle, and right now let's go to JB and find out what's going on in Chicago and Detroit.
Ray and Ron, we talked about mobile quarterbacks during our football demonstration here on the pregame show. This is what Stoney Case does best. 13-yard keeper. He takes it in. The Lions have regained the lead 17-13 in the fourth. 11-14 left in regulation. Ray and Ron.
Thank you, JB. A great one going on at the Silverdome.
Yeah, some backup quarterbacks stepping up and having to make things work to get their teams to where they got to get to, the playoffs.
King pulls it down and now rolls out, throws to the back of the end zone, overshoots his intended receiver, Todd Yoder.
It looked like Mike Allstott was open on the backside, too. There's Yoder, number 80, the tight end. He's working up the field. He's got somebody on him. And on that backside, I think that's where he's trying to go.
Yeah, and Dave Moore ran right into him, brought defenders in front, and King had to throw it up. Third down and goal.
Well, look at the time.
King escapes, and now he's down. That's a sack. John Theory's second of the day.
Are you talking about an embodiment of what this team is about this year? John Theory been playing with a torn cartilage in his knee all season long. Well, we're moving around so much.
Boy, it looked like he might have almost had a face mask.
It looked like he had a face mask in there.
Wasn't called, however. And now Gramatica comes on to attempt a field goal.
Yeah.
This one from 38 yards.
Because they need points here. They can't come away with nothing.
And Gramatica ties his own team record, his 27th field goal of the year. And the Buccaneers break through the ice. They're down now 14-3. The 2-minute 3 mark of the third quarter, the Buccaneers finally get on the board. An 11-play, 33-yard drive, capped off by the Gramatica 38-yard field goal. That thing all set up by the fumble recovery.
Yeah.
Gramatica line drives it. Henderson picks it up at the 20. William Henderson squirts through up to the 40-yard line. 20-yard return.
This is the last third down play here. One reason that Sean King is holding the ball so much, on the right you saw Leroy Butler. And what they're doing is that they're covering routes instead of men. They're not playing man-to-man matchup. They're playing routes. That time they took away the dig route, the inside stuff. And they've been doing that kind of thing all day long. And that's one of the reasons that King has had to hold it, run around, scramble. And you have to do that against a team like this because they can hurt you so many ways, especially inside the last couple of weeks. Keyshawn Johnson has been able to hurt people.
Amon Green spins out of a tackle, gets a couple of yards. Green, the workhorse, that's his 19th carry on the day. He's got a couple of touchdowns. 40 yards to his credit.
You know, Ray, your defense can only hang in there so long. And nobody's hung in there longer than the Buccaneer defense this year and last year. Sooner or later, your offense has to not just get points, but they got to put the ball in the end zone. Monty Kiffin, the defensive coordinator.
Favre looks quick, dumps underneath to Amon Green. His 8th catch of the day, gets up near midfield. 7 yards. He'll be a yard and a half shy of the first down.
And if I'm Tom Rosley, the Packers offensive coordinator, I'm going to think, roll the clock. They're coming up here on the end of the third quarter, fourth quarter. The more they take off the clock now is only going to kill the Buccaneers as you roll into this fourth quarter. I mean, minutes feel like hours when you're down.
Third down and 1. Favre. Nowhere to go with it. Favre avoids the rush, and he'll be able to run for the first down, and he does. Steve White forces him out of bounds, but Favre gets all the way down to the 38. 14 yards on the carry.
That's got to make you mad when Brett Favre gives you that little ball. He gives you the ball knowing he's well beyond the line of scrimmage.
It just slows you down, though. You react.
And it just slows the defender down. Watch it right here. Look at that. Like, what's he going to do with that ball? Nothing.
But he's flipped it that way like 3 times already today, so you got to respect that.
That would have been a forward lateral.
And Derek Brooks has not been in the lineup since in the first half. He's got a sprained right shoulder, and it's doubtful he'll return. Play action Favre, dumps it over the middle again. This time it's Parker who makes the grab. And that's the end of the third quarter with the score, Green Bay 14, Tampa Bay 3. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a word from your local Fox station. But the Packers in control here on 2 Amon Green touchdown runs.
You're watching the NFL on Fox.
Welcome back to Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Ray Bentley and Ron Fitz alongside. 14-3, the Packers up on Tampa Bay, and Green Bay driving once again. And it's really not that big of a surprise to me the way Brett Favre handles this kind of weather. This half, 6 of 8 for 73 yards. And he's just been able to control the tempo of the Packers offense all afternoon. They run the ball on the ground. Amon Green down to the 25. Warren Sapp had a sack earlier, Ron, but he hasn't done much since then.
First down.
There's why.
They're always going to put 2 hats on Warren Sapp. And I think he's been getting around things. But this is more of a symptom of an offense that just can't get the ball in the end zone. Your defense only plays so much. We're both defensive players, former defensive players, and you try not to have that bad attitude. But when those guys aren't scoring and you're steady out in that field, it starts to get to you.
Favre just throws it up for Henderson, just overshoots him, incomplete. That was Nate Webster trying to keep up with Henderson.
I got to go back to what Mike Sherman said. The quarterback that plays the best in cold weather is going to win this game. That team's going to win this game. And Brett Favre, even though he's from Mississippi, a warm weather guy, he's been great in cold weather.
He just likes the challenge of it, I think.
Now you got to remember, that's William Henderson. William Henderson is their fullback. If that's Amon Green, or if that's Lee, or if that's Driver, that could be 6 points.
2nd and 10. Blitz by the Bucs. Green fumble.
There it is.
And that's recovered by Tampa Bay.
And the offense will have yet another chance to get points on the board. One of the things we talked about in the open, running the football, throwing in the middle of the field, and then ball control, ball security. Good hit.
Recovery by McFarland, Tampa Bay ball.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Ford F-Series. The best-selling trucks are built Ford tough. By Energizer E-Squared, the battery with a heart of titanium. By Visa, the preferred card of the NFL. Visa, it's everywhere NFL fans want to be. And by Nike Shots, Boeing thoroughly experienced and explained at Nike.com.
Tampa Bay takes over after the Green fumble, recovered by Anthony McFarland. Sean King under center, goes back to throw. Can't decide what to do, and now he's sacked. John Theory was there first. Holiday showed up along with Hunt. But this is a huge game for Tampa Bay because of where they could end up being seated in the postseason. These are the 2 games that can affect that. And Detroit is up on Chicago. If Detroit wins and Philadelphia wins and Tampa Bay loses to Green Bay here, they're going to be the 6th seed in the playoffs. Forget that home playoff game. And the way it looks now, they would go to New Orleans because New Orleans is trailing St. Louis. King with time, and now it breaks down, and he'll be sacked again.
Look at the pressure that the Packers defensive line, and look at Brett Favre. Here's a guy like I say, he's won the Super Bowl, he's won his MVPs, and he's standing up, fired up, cheering on his defense. And that theory just comes through. They're running a lot of stunts. You know, they'll take the defensive tackle, loop it to the outside, loop a defensive end around. They'll bring the safety every now and then, just trying to give as much pressure as they can to Sean King to speed up his reaction time and decision-making time.
3rd and 10, King throws it down the sidelines, and he's got Jacquez Green, and he can't hang on.
Oh.
There's a flag down late, though.
And, you know, that's a purpose underthrow. Because whenever Sean King sees that the defensive back is running...
Oh, it's on Green.
Running color for color with the offensive guy, they're going to try to throw what they call the fade stop. But they get tagged for offensive push-off.
Pass interference. Number 81 offense. Penalties decline. 4th down.
Watch Jacquez Green. Now they're going up the field on the fade. Let's see if he pushes off. He does put the hand on the back, but I got to tell you, Ray, I very rarely seen that called. You never see that one called.
You sure don't.
And there's emotion and enthusiasm for Brett Favre, and a little emotion from Mike Sherman, who's not an emotional guy.
He doesn't show it. 10th punt of the day for Royals. High kick, Rossum takes it at the 37. And he is swarmed under immediately. Floyd Young gets it. 39-yard punt, 1-yard return. And the Packers get the football back. They've got the lead 14-3. Coming up next is the second part of our Fox NFL doubleheader. The Vikings look to wrap up that NFC Central and home field advantage against the Colts team fighting for a playoff berth. That's coming up next on Fox. And the Colts, things are looking good for them right now. Both Miami and the Jets lose. The Colts, with a victory, will win that division, the AFC East, and they'll be a number 3 seed. Now, if either of those teams lose, Colts win, they'll be in as a number 6 seed. Green cuts back and runs into Steve White, and White stays down.
And one thing you see in the NFC, Ray, is there's so much parity. Any one of those teams that you mentioned when talking about the Buccaneers seed, if they should lose here, New Orleans, possibly the Rams,
Giants, Minnesota,
any one of those teams,
I mean, there's no clear-cut favorite in this thing.
Yeah, any one of those teams can beat each other. And that's what we keep talking about, the importance of home field. You must get teams to come in your backyard in the playoffs. It
Blitz
increases your chances.
Picked up, Favre fights off a defender, complete to Henderson. How about Favre? He just stiff-armed Rondé Barber and said, get away.
See, that's the kind of stuff. See, Brett Favre, unlike most quarterbacks, dares you to come in. Now he gives him a little love there. He dares you to come in. He's a competitor. Look at that.
A pretty good
And really, it should be a face mask penalty on Brett Favre. Offensive players shouldn't be able to put their hand on a defensive player's mask, just like a defensive player can't put their hand on an offensive player's mask.
They let you do that if you have the football.
You
have the football, you can do that. Which, you know, a couple old defenders, you and I, we don't like that.
We don't like that.
I think that's wrong.
That's a bad rule. Ball or no ball.
3rd and 5, far from the gun. Throws the corner out looking for his tight end Wet Knight, and he overshoots him.
I don't know why Green Bay doesn't go more to the run on this series. They're up 14-3. Tampa Bay's offense is struggling, obviously. They don't take any time off the clock. They only ran 1 minute and 34 seconds off the clock in that possession. That's not good enough.
Bidwell on the punt for the 7th time. The Buccaneers bring pressure. Bidwell gets it away, a nice high kick. And Carl Williams has to make the fair catch, and he does so at the 15-yard line. Right now, let's go to JB for an NFL update.
Ray and Ron, boy, the highlights continue. Take a look at Stoney Case dropping back. Play action here. He throws a pick to ex-49ers R.W. McQuarter. He returns it 61 yards to pay dirt. All of a sudden, the game's now 20-17 Chicago. Aaron Brooks, he tosses this one to Willie Jackson. He takes it 21 yards for the score, 19-14 St. Louis. over the Saints. That in the fourth. 9:21 remaining. Back to Ray and Ron.
A lot of stuff going on out there. Hey, JB, that's a heck of a job, my man. You said a mouthful in 10 seconds.
A lot happened in 10 seconds.
You deserve a big bottle of pop for that one.
First and 10 from the 16. Buccaneers running out of time. Complete underneath to Keyshawn. Johnson up to the 30-yard line. 14 on that play.
When you look at Keyshawn and you look at some of the other guys they have on his team, there's just not enough balls to go around. I mean, Keyshawn, he's been involved, but you'd like to see him get involved more if you're a Bucs fan.
5 catches, 51 yards on the day for Keyshawn as the Bucs go into the hurry-up mode. Complete underneath. Dave Moore hangs on to this one, a gain of 5.
See, the Packers got caught without their dime personnel on the field for those 2 plays. Now they're getting them on. They're substituting. Allen Rossum coming in.
Rossum filling in for Todd McBride today. McBride put on injured reserve this week. Complete underneath to Warwick Dunn. And Dunn gets the first down up to the 47. Sean King took a heck of a hit when he let that one go.
It looks like Theory is down.
Sean Theory, you're right, slow getting up. And here's the shot that Sean King took at the end of this. That's Kabir Bajabiamila. Get up, work his way off the football field.
We talked earlier in the game about middle of the field throws and short throws. Well, you can see that here. That's out on the perimeter and under 15 yards. Short stuff, accurate stuff. And Sean King's numbers aren't really reflective of what he's done because he's had about 3-4 drop balls. Clean drops.
King 13 of 30 for 131 yards. No touchdowns, no picks.
No picks. Is huge.
Rossum came on the blitz. He was picked up, and now King gets it out complete to the tight end Dave Moore for 13 more yards, and this no-huddle offense is working now for the Buccaneers.
Come on. Throw it out. Throw it out.
The new football in play. King shoots it down the sidelines, back shoulder, caught. Incomplete, inbounds. A great play over there by Riddell Anthony.
That reminds you of the play they had down in Tampa Bay last week along the sideline toward the end. The fade stop. This is an intentionally thrown, a short thrown ball. They know the defensive back is in perfect position to make the play if they throw it up the field in the fade. So they throw the fade stop back behind.
Well, I don't know.
Well, that was close.
Looked to me like Anthony might have gotten a knee down on the sideline.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter now. King wide open. Keyshawn Johnson, touchdown, Buccaneers.
And they got what they wanted. They went to the no huddle. Nice call there by Les Steckel, the offensive coordinator, and they get money. And they're going for 2.
18 yards on the play.
Best series of the day for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A complete bust on the coverage. And that's what you hope for as an offensive coordinator. You hope as you're running these plays off and are trying to make calls and substitutions that somebody back there is not going to be on the same page. And the fact that the Packers are not with Todd McBride, one of their better corners, has hurt them here too.
8 touchdowns grab of the year for Keyshawn. Bucs want to pull to within 3, their first 2-point conversion attempt all year. Razzle dazzle. They got it.
That was sweet.
I don't think that last lateral was in as part of the play. I think Allstott just flipped it out there to King.
You think so?
I got to believe that.
That was nice.
A little razzle-dazzle gets the Buccaneers that 2-point conversion. It's 14-11 Green Bay over Tampa Bay now as the Buccaneers pull to the win to within a field goal. And Sean King puts together a nice drive going out of the no huddle. King 6 for 6 for 84 yards on that one.
I think he's been pretty good all day, and that series right there showed it.
Gossip stopped at the 26-yard line. And another turnover leads to another Tampa Bay score. Let's go back to that two-point conversion because that was something that was pretty good right there.
And this is actually a planned play. Now, I want you to watch after the handoff here. We're going to freeze it. See where King is right here? He's there for a reason. He's expecting the pitch. It's an option.
Good pitch.
And Allstott can do whatever he wants to do. If he feels someone's going to come in and make a tackle on him, they got King out there. You really give the defense three things of defense. The handoff to Dunn, the reverse to Allstott, and now the option to give the pitch to King.
Good stuff from Favre. Throws it deep outside, and that one's dropped by Driver.
Donald Driver is not making a case for himself here today, subbing for the disciplined Antonio Freeman.
The Driver had 2 receptions in the first drive and hasn't had anything since.
This ball is on the money. It's a deep throw. It's perfect. And he doesn't come up with it. It's just concentration. That's got nothing to do with the cold and all that. That's concentration. Those are the kind of things that make you end the season 8-8.
Third drop of the day for Donald Driver. Try saying that 3 times. Favre intercepted by Lynch. Third turnover, third takeaway by Tampa Bay.
And you know what? John Lynch baited him. John Lynch has been coming up playing the run in the 8-man front all day long. This time he bluffed. There he is. Look at him. He's in that gray area. Is he coming up? Look at him. Now watch. And he falls right back and plays in the zone. And he got just enough depth that Brett Favre thought he could get it over his head. Good job there by Lynch. An even better job, I think, by Monty Kiffin and Herman Edwards, the defensive back coach, of setting up that disguise.
So the Buccaneers, their third forced turnover, they've scored all their points off of the first 2. Here they go on this third one. King throws a grounder over to Allstott, incomplete.
And he threw a one-hopper to first on that one. You just look at the drives today. And really, ever since Billy Schrader fumble, Packers have kind of hit that lull. You know, we just got through talking about Favre and how well he plays in the cold weather and all that, but the offense as a whole has kind of shut it down a little bit these last couple of series.
King with pressure, Holiday all over him. He has to throw it away in the direction of Dave Moore.
Bonnie Holiday. You know, Bonnie Holiday is a guy came here and everybody was expecting a lot out of him. And he didn't really show it right away. But this year he's starting to come on. He's starting to show some of that stuff that they thought they drafted. He's a big guy. He's got pretty good speed around the corner. He's never been able to put it all together. That play, he put it all together.
Tampa Bay 3 of 15 on third down conversions. This one a 3rd and 10. Complete underneath. Very close to the first down. Caught by Warwick Dunn.
That's all going to depend on the spot.
And I think you got to try a field goal here if you don't get it, just to tie this thing up if you're Tony Dungy. And they are going to be about a half a yard short.
And it doesn't look like they're going for any field goal. They're trying to decide. And if you're Tony Dungy, Ray, you got to figure, if I'm a playoff team.
I kick it, man. I kick it.
Yeah, but if I'm a playoff team, and I'm talking about the Super Bowl, and I'm telling people how good we are, and we're the best, and we're supposed to be the best, and we got to get to the big show right in our own backyard at the end of the season, then we should be able to make a yard.
Well, we'll find out when we come back. Tampa Bay uses a timeout to think this one over.
Yeah.
And the Buccaneers have decided to go for the field goal, and Gramatica nails it. And we're all tied up, 14-14, with 7:50 left to go.
Gramatica showed you something. You know, he was down there filming that Spike Lee commercial. He believes in it. And Tony Dungy went for the points. It's like they say, you never know if you're going to make it back.
Yeah, you know, they had a nice discussion on the sideline during that timeout. and they kind of, at the end, Tony said, no, we're going to kick.
Well,
they tried to talk him into it.
What
That's
you
how
think? You could have been
happened.
talked into it.
I might could have been talked into it. As a coach, you know, you know your guys are going to tell you, oh, we can get it. But you know, you got to, I think, you just got to make the sound decision in the end, and that's what Tony did.
Well, I think you look at it like this. You've had a lot of problems with your offense going down the field, except on the last series. You got a great defense. You put the onus on them. You get your points, tie it up. Now let your defense play.
And that's exactly what they did.
And once again, it's still points off turnovers. This offense is making it happen when they get turnovers from the defense. And that's okay, because that's what they are right now. And they have this saying in the NFL, you are what you are. What the Buccaneers are is a team with a great defense that makes things happen for an offense that's learning to take advantage of it.
And you see the Buccaneers capitalizing on takeaways. And Gramatica, after making the clutch field goal to tie it up, hits this one to Allen Rossum.
It's got to be a hole.
There's a flag down. 3 flags come flying into the same spot. I think the officials saw the same thing you did.
Well, the Buccaneers don't like Allen Rossum. He must have done something to the Buccaneers a long time ago.
Holding on Green Bay. We'll take that opportunity to go to JB in Los Angeles for an update.
Ray and Ron, take a look. Detroit still trying to keep its playoff hopes alive as James Allen fumbles the ball. It's recovered by Detroit. Detroit has the ball 3rd down. They're at the 5. And meanwhile, Marshall Faulk, now the NFL's new single-season leader in touchdowns. That's number 26. That came at the end of a 9-play, 79-yard drive. St. Louis on top comfortably over New Orleans. Ray and Ron.
Well, you look at the Rams, and they're about a touchdown better than the Saints.
Yeah, but they're probably not going to make the playoffs. Unbelievable. All right, the Packers have seen their once 14-0 lead evaporate. It's tied up now. That one almost picked off as Favre tried to force it into Lee, and Barber was right there. Barber ran the route.
Brett Favre doesn't have the right arsenal of receivers on the field to complement what he can do. Willie Schrader is the only guy that has the experience, that's been there a little bit, and he's dropped some. And now he goes backside, and this is another drop. It should have been an interception, excuse me.
Yeah, the drop by Barber.
Yeah, clearly the route just eaten up by Rondé Barber.
2nd down and 10. Favre, play action. Dumps it off to Henderson, and he drops it.
The momentum right now is clearly in the Buccaneers' favor. You can feel it. You can see it happening. You can see the Packer offense shut down. And it's all about the turnover. And you know, it doesn't matter how the game starts. All that matters is in the upper left-hand corner of your screen, that 14-14. And plenty of time left on the clock.
Third and 10. Favre to the gun. And Favre completes it to Schrader. Well, Schrader almost lost it, hung on, but picks up 20 on the play. Rondé Barber makes the stop on him. But how about Brett Favre setting that thing up?
Did you hear how quiet the place got?
Everybody's holding their breath.
He knows he's going backfield, backside. Now, there's only maybe 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the NFL can make that throw. Throw across their body to the middle of the field, running full speed to the sideline.
Well, Schrader almost lost another one.
That's the difference between 1st and 10 and the punt team running onto the field.
Might be the difference between a win and a loss. Favre trying to make one of his patented comebacks, tosses it to Amon Green. Green gets outside.
If I'm Tony Dungy, I'm shivering a lot more than the weather has made me shiver already if Brett Favre has the ball in his hands under 5 minutes in this game in driving. You got to find, they talk about stealing possession. You got to find a way to get this guy off the field right now.
You see Favre, 18 game-winning drives in the fourth quarter. Facing a 2nd down and 2. Stays on the ground with him on Green. Green pushes the pile. He'll be a little bit short of the first down. And when we started out this thing today, we told you that Brett Favre has been unbelievable. Perfect at home when the game temperature is 34 degrees or below. On the other hand, the Buccaneers have never won a game in the history of the franchise when the temperature is 39 or below. It was 15 degrees when we started here today. So something's going to give.
And in the beginning of the week, the coaches came out with the game plan. And Brett said, wait a minute, that's all wrong. And this is how it's got to work in December in Green Bay. This works. We got to do a little of this, a little of that. Remember, Mike Sherman and this staff, they hadn't had the experience of being up here too long. Mike Sherman had been here with Mike Holmgren for a few years, but there's definitely a cold weather game plan that you give Brett Favre.
And now the Detroit Lions just tied Chicago on a field goal. Around 2 minutes left in that one, and New Orleans comes back there still within striking distance of St. Louis. It's going to come down to the wire.
Well, he went up to Marco Rivera and gave him the play. They checked out of it.
Favre wanted to go underneath, now over the top. Almost picked off. Damian Robinson.
Robinson's got to catch that ball. And you hear the way that ball sounded?
It sounded
like somebody was beating meat.
Sounded like you dropped a watermelon off the 10th floor.
I mean, this is all hands here. You don't get a chance to get those very often.
Packers late getting the personnel out of the field. They're going to possibly run out of time on the play clock. They're not out of the huddle yet. It's down to 10.
That'll be all right.
Better hurry. They get it off. Favre dumps it underneath to Ahman Green, one we've seen so many times today, and Green is punished after a gain of 4.
And one thing the Packers are doing now, they're burning that clock. They're burning the clock. Favre's got the ball. Remember, the score is tied. All they would need was a field goal to win it.
Favre will use as much time as he can, but still needs the first down on this 3rd and 6. Green Bay 5 of 15 on 3rd down conversions.
Look for him to get out of the pocket. He did that the last play, the last 3rd down play. Blitz.
Favre goes across the body again. This one incomplete. Looking for Charles Lee, and he overshoots him.
You know, Brett could have taken off with that ball if he wanted to. I'm surprised he didn't. The Buccaneer defense does what they have to do. They get off the field. And I know Tony Dungy breathes a big sigh of relief.
Josh Bidwell set the punt for the 8th time, gets this one away. A high, deep kick, good kick from Bidwell. Carl Williams actually lets the thing bounce, and it's down at the 10-yard line. That's where the Packers' Chris Akins downed it.
Great job by both punters today.
44-yard punt by Bidwell. And again, to review what's at stake for the Green Bay Packers, they can still make the playoffs. What they need to do is win today, and then they need losses by Detroit and St. Louis. And you see the scores down there, Detroit and Chicago, with very little time left, knotted up at 20 in Detroit. And down in New Orleans, St. Louis with a 5-point lead in the 4th quarter. Now for the Buccaneers, they're in the playoffs. They're playing for a home playoff game with a win. Now with losses by the Saints and the Vikings, they can win the NFC Central title, be the number 2 seed, have a bye and a home playoff game. Sean King trying to fake him out. Now he gets sacked down there by Vonnie Holiday.
That was strange.
The King kind of just shut it down. I think he was trying to fake him out. It cost him. Nobody bought the fake.
And at first it almost looked like he thought the play was dead, but I think you're right, Ray. I think he's just trying to carry out that play-action fake.
Yeah, watch him at the end of this.
Oh, yeah, I don't have it.
Yeah,
the only problem is Russell Maryland didn't go for it.
No, he didn't.
Well, that cost him 5 yards.
Second sack of the day by Vonnie Holiday.
Usually cost him 7 yards.
5 sacks by this Packers defense. And Allstott gets it back up near the original line of scrimmage. The 9-yard line is where he stopped.
Allstott has not been involved today, and I know he's still coming back from that knee injury. Look at his jersey. Everybody else is kind of
when have you dirtied up his stuff that clean?
Yeah, at this point in the game. 3:45 and running.
Big third down, 3rd and 10. King throws it outside to Jaquez Green. Green stumbles down at the 16. He's short by 4 yards, and the Bucs will have to punt it away. And it looked like Green was waiting to get hit. He could have run, and he just fell down.
Green's just going to work back out to the outside. A nice throw, nice catch. Now the ball's out. He can pick it up and run, but the first mistake is he thinks somebody's right there to tag him. I don't know if he knew where the first down marker was. It looked as though he thought he was closer than he was.
Yeah, it looked to me like he just was worried about getting hit. 11th punt of the day for Royals, ties a career high. And Rossum waves it off, lets it bounce, and it rolls all the way back into Buccaneer territory, and they down it at the 47.
Well, here we go.
Just a 31-yard punt. And Green Bay will be in excellent field position with 2:38 left on the clock, and the Packers with 2 timeouts.
Brett Favre kept this team afloat. They got a little fight going on.
Tony Dungeon. All over Dexter Jackson. Keep your composure is what he's telling you.
Brett Favre has kept this team together the last year and a half. Last year, when they had guys hurt, they couldn't get offense going. He started off the year with like 3 straight comebacks. He has held them through the rough times. They're going to need him to engineer one more comeback to try to stay in the playoff hunt.
Just a reminder, coming up, game 2 of the doubleheader, Vikings and Colts. As Ahman Green breaks the tackle. Wow. All the way up to the 34.
We talked about it earlier, that low body lean, that drive that Ahman Green has going through the hole. And it all starts by how low he gets. And he keeps turning. Watch there. He uses that free arm. Now he keeps driving. See, he just ducked right over it. He let Damian Robinson duck right over it.
So the Packers are going to let it run down to the 2-minute warning. And that's where the clock is at right now. 2 minutes to go. All tied up. 14 all. But Green Bay in position to put it away. Brett Favre with 2 minutes left, trying to get Ryan Longwell in position to kick potential game-winning field goal. Longwell's career long, 52 yards, week 11 in Tampa Bay. This one's going to be a little bit different with the conditions here. 1st and 10 from the 34. Favre goes for the home run for Schrader.
Schrader with the push-off.
And it's knocked away incomplete. Nice play by Abraham.
Abraham fought him on that one. And you see the way Favre threw that ball. He threw it straight up to give Schrader a chance to go get it. Well, watch the coverage by Abraham. Now watch down the field. Schrader's going to push off on him. Right there. And that's just good football. Both guys battling. They're both pushing on each other.
Both looking at the ball.
Looking at the ball. That's the way you play.
2nd down and 10. Favre shoots it on it, intercepted. Jamie Duncan.
And isn't it ironic? The one guy that they said couldn't take the place of Hardy Nickerson, who gave him such great pass coverage, comes up with a huge interception.
4th pick of the year for Duncan. 4th turnover on the day by the Packers.
And the whole key to this is depth for linebackers. And that's one thing that Jamie Duncan does. He gets underneath the in route. In fact, this whole defense, the linebackers do a great job of getting dropped. Brett Favre has thrown some bad passes here in this 4th quarter.
So here's
Picks a Lynch, and he throws another one here, and one was dropped by Damian Roberts.
Here comes Sean King with 1:45 left.
Oh,
almost gets that one picked. Threw it in, knocked away by Tyrone Williams. Let's knock it away to JB in Los Angeles.
Speaking of knocking it away, take a look, Ray and Ron, at Paul Ettinger knocking in this 54-yard field goal by the Bears. That right now with 2 seconds remaining apparently upsets the Lions. The Lions will be out. The Rams will be in. Again, 2 seconds remaining, and that Rams get their part, winning 26-21. Back to Ray and Ron.
Thank you, JB. I'm glad we got you there to keep track of all this stuff. It goes back and forth like a good tennis match.
well, Green Bay doesn't know about that one score yet.
So King drops it off underneath to Warwick Dunn. Look at Dunn. Stays alive, and Dunn all the way into Packer territory, down at the 43-yard line. 15 yards for Dunn.
He wasn't done yet.
So the Packers now eliminated from postseason.
And remember, Sean King has been in this comeback territory, too. It hasn't been all Brett Favre. He did it last week.
But still at stake for the Buccaneers is their seeding in the playoff tournament. This one's caught by Moore. Getting close to field goal range now for Martin Gramatica.
Gramatica was hitting them from 53 right in this edge of the field, this part of the field, in pregame warm-up. And he's been hitting them strong all day.
And that's about where he would have to go from right from here. And that's why they go to the ground with Warwick Dunn. And Dunn spins out of one tackle and gets a first down.
Wow, that's huge.
And now the Bucs use the timeout. At least they should. Yes, they did. They used their second timeout. And right now we'll take a timeout as well and go to Los Angeles and see what JB's got cooking now.
Well, Ray and Ron, you will see how Detroit's season ended. Take a look at this on the kickoff. It goes to Desmond Howard. Desmond Howard will do his best, but unable to pull out a miracle as he's dropped there. So Detroit knocked out of the playoffs by virtue of the upset by the Chicago Bears. Back to Ray and Ron.
And how disappointed is Gary Moeller? Moeller comes in as interim coach and does an outstanding job. And a team that nobody thought had anything to play for, the Chicago Bears come up with a huge win in spite of all the drama this week concerning the quarterback.
And what that does is put the St. Louis Rams into the playoff, and there's my Super Bowl favorite. How about that? Even though they'll be the 6th seed.
And see, you know,
St. Louis.
yeah, and you know what's dangerous about that? They've been to the big one, and they've won it. Right now, once you're in, it's another season. Forget everything that just happened. It's a new season. And with that offense, they can beat anybody, anywhere.
41 seconds left here. One timeout for Tampa Bay, and King throws it high and wide, incomplete. Anthony couldn't get up, climb the ladder to get it. So to break it down for Tampa Bay, bottom line, if they lose, they'll be the number 5 seed. If they win this game, they'll be the number 3 seed. Possibly. Depends on what happens with Minnesota. Minnesota wins, they'll be the 3. The 2, excuse me. Now, King forces it in, complete, down on the sidelines to Riddell Anthony and stops the clock.
I know the weather's below 10 degrees here, but how cool is Sean King?
That was awesome.
Sean King has gone to that next level. And he went to it last week. And that's what's going to take this team to the next level. You have to be able to play a different style of football when you get into the playoffs, because the playoff speed changes. It's not the same as the regular season. You have to be able to pull something out of the bag. You have to be able to go and play better in tough situations.
30 seconds left. The Packers run the blitz. Work done. Stopped at the 20. And now the clock continues to roll down, and we are well within Martin Grammatica field goal range. And now Green Bay takes a timeout, just because if Grammatica is going to make this field goal, they're going to want time to counter.
Well, they don't want to make the Ray Rhodes mistake from last year.
Correct. That's the second timeout for Green Bay.
Of course, that mistake is when they were playing the Carolina Panthers, who ironically kind of sealed the fate of the Packers this year.
Right, on a Monday night game a few weeks ago.
They were playing the Carolina Panthers. They got down by the end zone, and the Panthers were running the clock down to kick a field goal, and the Packers didn't stop the clock, and they ran out of time. You want to give Brett Favre at least one more shot. As rough as the season as it's been for the Buccaneers, you know, they are just a team, once they get in right now, to do a lot of damage, Ray, because like the Rams, they've been there. And it's funny, this season has been the same season as last year. It's deja vu. They started out 3-4. They hit that rough part, and in the end, they had to win the final game to have playoff implications.
So Sean King's just going to take a knee here. Expect that the Packers will use their final timeout.
The clock's running.
They do. Packers use their final timeout. We got a lot of 14s on that scoreboard, on that Fox box. 14 seconds left, 14-14 the score.
You see Warren Sapp is in there lobbying. He's trying to tell everybody what they need to do right now.
But I tell you, you got to, if the Buccaneers are going to pull this one out, and if Grammatica can make a field goal here, it sure looks like they will. That says a lot to me about this football team. Coming off of what would certainly be a letdown situation after winning so big on Monday night over the Rams, to come in here, it's 15 degrees at kickoff. You've never won a game when it's 39 or below. Down 14-0. You could fold it up, and they come back, and they get themselves in position to pull this out.
That's what great teams do. And the Buccaneers have gone to that next level like I was talking about. They couldn't have done that a year ago. And it took Sean King, your quarterback. You can't hide your quarterback. Sooner or later, he's got to step up and take the game in his hands, and that's what he did today. He did it last week. And now Grammatica can send them home with a win.
Grammatica will attempt the 40-yarder on third down. Snap is good, the hold is good, the kick missed it, is wide right.
Did everything right. They ran the ball. They ran time off the clock. They centered it perfect. And he shanked it to the right.
Just the sixth miss of the year for Grammatica.
And it was a big one.
And the biggest one of all.
Because remember, even if the Buccaneers get the win, if they don't win, they'll be in the playoffs. We know that.
Right, but they'll be a number 5 seed.
The whole key is where you're seated.
They could be a number 2 seed if they win today and Minnesota loses later.
And Green Bay's playing for the OT.
The Packers will just take a knee, and we'll get some overtime here at Lambeau Field. And that's the end of regulation. The score, Green Bay 14, Tampa Bay 14. And we are going to overtime. We'll have the coin toss here in a moment.
It's going to be a Ricky Camp's Christmas.
I want to remind everyone, stick around. We've got game 2 of our doubleheader coming up. Minnesota at Indianapolis. And this could mean a lot to Tampa Bay fans, because if their Buccaneers pull this thing out in overtime and Minnesota loses to Indianapolis, that would give Tampa Bay the number 2 seed, a bye in the first round, and a home playoff game. So we'll go out for the coin toss to see who will get the first crack with the football. Round winners.
Okay, gentlemen, we play a sudden death overtime. We'll use fourth quarter timing. Each team is entitled to 2 timeouts. Who's going to make the choice, please? Your choice is? You called heads? It is a tails. Your choice is receive.
Packers win the coin toss. And in overtime this year, the team that wins the toss and receives is 10-2.
The amazing thing about it, you look at this stadium, everybody's still here.
Man, I can't think of a better way to end the 2000 NFL regular season here at Lambeau Field. We're going to overtime. Tampa Bay and Green Bay tied at 14. Here's your rules. We've already had the coin toss. Packers win that one. We'll play 1 quarter, 15 minutes, 2 timeouts per team. All replays will be initiated from the booth. First team to score goes home a winner.
That's a big one to remember. All replays initiated from the booth.
And Grammatica kicks this one down to Rossum from the 9. And Allen Rossum's going to get the corner here. Rossum all the way up to the 37 before he's run out of bounds. A 26-yard return.
Grammatica ran over and tried to take a shot on him. Then he ran into Brett Favre. I think Brett Favre had some words for him.
I'm sure Grammatica had some back for him.
After that last kick, I don't think Grammatica should be saying
No,
much.
not a whole lot. I think Favre maybe said thank you. First and 10 from the 37. Play action, Favre dumps it down to William Henderson, and Henderson pulls his way for a first down near midfield. He ran over Abraham and Jacob and Isaac.
Brett looked downfield. He just took the safe check off. And now Henderson just lowers a little wood on Abraham.
So the Packers officially eliminated from the playoffs. With that Rams win, can spoil a seeding party for the Bucs. Here they go on Green. Into Buccaneer territory. Gets 5 on the play. And here's your scenario. The Bucs win. Vikings lose later on, and we'll have that game for you at Indianapolis coming up after this one. The NFC Central title, the first round bye, and the number 2 seed on the line.
And plus, that'll take that whole weather mystique out. Well, how the Bucs haven't won in cold weather for so many years, all that and all that.
Well, we were ready to give it to him before Grammatica missed that field goal.
Yeah, really.
Lamont Green stopped for no gain on this play. Burger McFarland along with Steve White on the play.
Boy, and this is when it's tough. You know, you've been on the field all game long here. That's tough there.
Lamont Green.
You've been on the field all game long here, fought. Now you got to come back in the OT and fought as hard as you fought all game long.
That puts Damon Parker into the backfield, replacing Lamont Green. 3rd and 4. Barr throws it outside, caught by Parker. First down.
One thing the Bucs are talking about, keeping Brett Favre's feet set and making him throw like that, because when he moves, it's almost like a motor. That's how he generates things. He throws off the movement of his feet. He's throwing the short stuff now. He's staying away from that deep in the middle. He's hitting the short things, just moving the chain.
The Buccaneer defense, which has forced 4 turnovers already today, needs something to happen. Packers on the move. Parker. He stays alive down inside the 35-yard line.
Damon Parker is getting the brunt of it now. Ahman Green still on the sideline. Not sure exactly what happened to him. They're working on him. Looks like they got him covered up over there. Longwell, now he was hitting him not as well as Gramatica was hitting him in warm-up. And his distance wasn't anywhere near what Gramatica's was.
And they're rubbing down that leg of Ahman Green. Probably got kicked in the calf by the looks of it. Second and 6. Parker. Close to the first down. It'll be a yard and a half shy. Bring up third.
Yeah, Green looks like he's got either a calf, like kick in the calf, or some kind of pull on that right leg.
For those of you who have just joined us, the Packers jumped out to a big lead, 14-0, a big lead in these kind of conditions, but the Buccaneers on turnovers brought back 14 points to tie it up. Gramatica had a chance to win it. With 14 seconds left, he was wide right on a 40-yarder, and we've gone to overtime. First possession in overtime, 3rd and 1 for the Packers. First down, Damon Parker.
And you can see the Packers are in their ground-out mode right now. They've got 2 tight ends in the game, 1 wide receiver. They're not trying to put it in the air deep. They're trying to keep it just where it is, between the hashes and on the ground. And Damon Parker getting his chance to show what he can do.
The word on Ahman Green is he got kicked in the lower leg, just above the ankle. They're trying to loosen that up and bring him in, but I don't know if I do that right now as Damon Parker is doing the job. And Parker cuts back, and now he's stopped for no gain.
And Jamie Duncan just went off the field for the Buccaneers. He limped off.
That puts Nate Webster in the lineup for him.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd put him in. Parker looks like he's got a little bit of a rhythm going.
Yeah, Green just said, you saw that. He said, no, he tried to get it going a little bit, waved it off. So it looks like Ahman Green is done after 27 carries, 74 yards, a pair of touchdowns, and a career-high 9 receptions on a day for Ahman Green. It's in Damon Parker's hands now, literally. Parker, there he goes. Down inside the 5 to the 4.
Well, if I'm Mike Sherman, I'm thinking about putting that ball down and getting the kicker on the field and kicking that ball. You might want to center it a little more. I don't know.
I'd take a knee right to
I think I would take that knee and kick that ball.
Take a knee right to the middle of the field and
we were just,
send him home.
We were just talking about this, Ray. Damon Parker's hot. Look at that. I look at that number. That's that old 22. That's the number my father Elijah wore for so many years here at Green Bay. Brings back some pretty good memories.
The spirit of Elijah alive and well here at Lambeau.
Parker
proud with 5 carries, 35 yards, 1 reception for 15 yards, 6 touches, 50 yards in this drive.
And Gramatica has got to be sick to think that he could have put his team at home for a playoff game.
As it is, if Longwell makes this game-winning kick for the Packers, their season will be over. The Buccaneers will draw the number 5 seed, and they'll go on the road next week in the playoffs.
And then, too, you know, Ray, you have to keep things in perspective. We keep saying all day long, once you're in, you're in. Well, yeah, they would like to be at home. You'd like to play right in your own yard and all that, but you got to go play regardless of where you're at. Sometimes teams rise to the occasion better when they're away.
The Buccaneers, their only chance here is to block this kick or hope that Longwell will miss from 22 yards.
And remember, this one isn't automatic either.
Snap, the hold, the kick, and it's good. And the Packers continue their mastery over the Buccaneers in the cold in Wisconsin.
It's amazing. After all that cold weather stuff still goes on.
A bitter pill for Tony Dungy. They had it set up to win. All they needed was a field goal from Gramatica.
And really, the Packers will go in, and they'll be elated, they'll be happy. Then the reality will hit in, and they'll find out that the Rams won, that they won't be going to the playoffs, but what an effort.
And Brett Favre goes to 27-0 with the temperature of 34 degrees or less here at home. And Martin Gramatica, as you said earlier on, got to be sick. In fact, the entire Tampa Bay Buccaneer team, who fought so hard to get back into this thing, got to be sick right now. And Mike Sherman, there's a little emotion from him. What a great job he did this year with his football team.
What a game, though. You talk about the parity in this league. Two teams that kind of have gone different directions this year, but this game was as close and as tight and as hard fought, like they were both coming into it undefeated.
All right, this is Ray Bentley for Ron Pitts saying so long from Lambeau Field. The final score, Green Bay 17, Tampa Bay 14 in overtime. Now, after these messages, you'll see Game 2 of our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. Minnesota at Indianapolis, and the Panthers and the Raiders. Some of you will see that as well. For more information on today's game and the latest NFL news, log on to foxsports.com. Once again, the Packers prevail. Favre stays perfect. Green Bay over Tampa Bay 17-14. And all of us in the crew want to wish everybody out there happy holidays. So long, everybody.
Happiest season of all. With those